Hey everyone, Happy New Year! Woohoo! I don't have any streamers. I don't have any whistle poppy things. Sorry. Ooh, I'm streaming. Thank you, Apple Watch. Happy New Year! Cheers to you all. Not my first coffee for the year. Happy New Year, Michael. I hope you are all doing well. I need to... Oh, is it just this? Lots of celebrations in the chat. Cool. Some new faces as well. Or new names, I should say. I have no idea what your faces look like. Which is a little weird. Yes, 2020 is done, Mr. DIY. Done. Dusted. 2021 is starting off no different. Surprise, surprise. Okay, I'm going to do a quick roll call. Get it out of the way. I think that's a good idea. So, Rob, I can't believe first in the chat this morning. What happened, mate? I don't think you've done that in like over a year or two. Good morning, Rob. Hey, Ian. Ian's been up all night. Hey, Graham. Dave, Kai, Andy, Mick Red. Oh, Andy Calloway. Hello. The Embedded Hobbyist. Hi. Chris, this is for you. This stream, this is prompted by you. We'll talk about that soon. Aaron, hello. Henrik. Pierre, hi. JTax. Johnny. Hello, Johnny. Hello, Mark. Soldering, always working. You work too hard. You should speak to your boss. Get him to give you some time off. Hey, Gary. Hey, Paul. Hello, Michael. Hi, Peter. Hi, Paul. Mike, did you eat the bed? Why are you up so early? That is crazy. Hey, Bridan. Crazy Roops, hi. Kane, hello. John, Mickey, hi. David. It's nearly Xmas. I don't think so. Hey, Absidy. Hey, Nick. Hello, Jorg. Hi to Germany. Hi, Rota. Hi, Adrian. Mr. DIY. Hello, Joe. Did I say hi to Bridan? No, I didn't. Hello, Bridan. And now I've lost my list again. That's okay. Just woke up from a crazy vivid dream where I got struck by lightning right as the stream started. Ouch. I'm sorry. My fault. I put some probes on your bed when you weren't watching. Hey, Savage Electronics. Hi, Jeremy. And my Siri just activated. Really, that's a bit weird. Hi, Peter S. Welcome. Who am I seeing? X-Micron, hi. Red Madness, hello. It's Wednesday, not Tuesday. Come on. Deshipu, hi. Okay, I think that's everyone on the list for now. Where's Mary? Peter, Paul, and Mary. Yeah. It's Wednesday. For Mike and I, it's Wednesday. There's no other Aussies here this morning. Not yet, I don't think. Dave Darko, I missed you. In the list. Hello. Hi. Christian, hi. More names coming in. Hello, John. New Zealand. See? It's Wednesday in New Zealand. Christos. Hey, mate. Happy New Year. Sorry I couldn't chat last night. I was very tired, had to get to bed. Emma just came to the office. Hi, Emma. Oh, careful. Oh, happy birthday to Emma for tomorrow. Yes. Dave has just one-upped Johnny on the trolling. Hello, Harry. Nearly 16k subscribers. How close am I to 16k? I've honestly stopped looking. Because it crawls. Oh, it doesn't say on the screen. Okay. Doesn't say on here. That's okay. Okay. She making cookies. Cookies for everyone for her birthday. Yeah, searching in Nano is not that hard, but it took me ages to learn how to do that. Dave, like it's the same thing. Was it Control W? I think it is. Anyway, so I hope you all had a nice break. I did. I had a great break. It was called Pick and Placing, but that's okay. I'm finally this close to being on top of it all. I've got 250 Feather S2s finished to build and about 900 tiny picos. So I'm well on the way to completing this lot of stuff, and hopefully I'll get a break between that and having to do it all again, so I can work on some other stuff. Alt W, Ubuntu, okay, yeah, but Control W, yeah. You know what? Like if you look at, for those that don't know, Nano is a text-based editor under Linux /*X, and which is, I think Nano and Pico are the same. It's just a lightweight editor, and so down the bottom we've got a command bar of all the different things, and you know I only learnt like 3 of them. Like I think I've used is it Command K or Control K to cut a line or whatever, but yeah, like you can search, and I you know, through frustration, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I used it for the first time. Like normally I just scroll up and down looking for whatever. Yeah, it's just really foreign, really awesome. Yeah, Nano's my go-to just for something quick. Like if I'm on the Pi and I need to just quickly change a line of code or something, I'll just do that. No, I didn't order a second Prusa, Michael. What I did instead was I waited till that whole batch of cases was finished, and it was about my second lot was about 3.5 days of printing, and then what I did was I recalibrated the printer again and tightened everything on it, and then did the whole factory recalibration from scratch again, which is really painful. Although I mean it used to be much worse pre my Prusa printer, excuse me, and got the bed really level, and then modified the case just slightly, and managed to fit 2 on the build plate just. And I get a little bit of wonky printing on the brim, on the edges, but by the time it comes into the actual case, there's no wonkiness. So I still can't print exactly edge to edge, but much closer than what I could before. So I can print 2 cases at a time in a single color. So what I did was I spent 4 days pre-printing a bunch of colored cases, and they're up on my shelf over there. And a few of them even got reflow masters already set up inside them. So now when people order, I can just take one off the shelf and don't have to print them, which is great. And then when I'm down to 1 left, I'll print another 2. So that's working out for me, and I don't have to get another printer. But printing 2 is the same, like it's double the time of printing 1. So I haven't saved any time, but I can use my downtime better. MC Edit. Everyone's talking about editors. So why would Nano not already be there? Isn't Nano part of every installation, every distribution? Okay. Never Vi, never Vim. Ever, ever, ever. Never Emacs. No. If I want an editor, I'll use Visual Studio Code. If I just need to do something really, really quick, I'll use Nano. It's actually, well, it's easier, yes, Mike, but it's also 3 times the price. It's actually quite like using something like 3D Hubs or whatever, or other places I looked on earlier on. Yeah, it's actually quite expensive. I mean, I only charged $9 for a case, And if you consider it's filament plus 5 hours of printing for a case, I mean, it's really, I don't think it's I do it as a service. I think the cases were going to cost me $14 each plus shipping, or $15 each plus shipping, and it didn't really scale. Like, you know, if I ordered 10, the price didn't really change. So yeah, no, do it myself. Yes, Johnny, macOS is the best. No, let's not do that. Let's not start. I'm going to open some mail first, and then we're going to get onto the test jig stuff, okay? Shall I open some mail? I've got mail. I've got 3 things here I can open. Let's do mail. Let's start with the, actually, there's 4 things. So, I picked up some SD cards. 32 gig, 100 megabit, or megabyte, yeah, megabytes per second, right? So, guess how much these cost me each? 32 gigabytes. Ding, I've got mail. Everyone may ask a technical question. It's possible to have too much decoupling capacitors. It is possible to have too much decoupling, but not in terms of the decoupling. You definitely run the risk of getting ringing from the capacitors if you're just going overboard. Yeah, if you're going too crazy, you can end up getting ringing from caps. I'm gonna let you all keep guessing. $1.98 US. What? No. Firstly, I'm in Australia. So yeah, I think that's the risk. I don't think you can put too much decoupling specifically. You can definitely have too many caps, I think. No, these are real. Or they're Kingston, but no, these are real. $9 each. $9 for a 32 gigabyte card. How ridiculous is that? I remember when I used to pay like $30 for like a 16 or an 8 or a 16. Like, what's going on? $9 for a 32, like, I don't even need 32 gig on my test jig. Like, I can get away with an 8 gig card. But, yeah. No, these are from Australia Post. That's just ridiculous. And the 64 gig was $15. Like, I could have bought like $15 for a 64 gig SD card. Anyway, every few times I go to the post office, I just buy some extras. You can never have too many SD cards. Anyway, that wasn't one of the packages. So, I got myself one of the Power Profiler kit from Nordic. It actually came a couple of weeks ago. And I've not even opened it yet. And so I'm going to quickly switch cameras. I'm sure many of you know what this is already. Hey, Micro Pezzy, and also some other names popped in that I haven't said hello to. Moragor. Hello. Sounds like something right out of Lord of the Rings. Hey, Christopher White. Yay, Happy New Year. So let me just switch oh, you watch. This won't even be on. Oh, okay. I'm going to have that camera issue again, I think. One moment, please. 9 funny money. Is Australian money funny money? Have you got NRF 52 DK to put the power profiler on top of? I have no idea. I have no idea what I need to use this. Pulled out a half a gigabyte SD. I paid a fortune for. Wow. Yeah. So the AUD versus USD, I don't want to talk about that right now. I don't even want to talk about it. Okay, camera works. So yeah, like do I need something else to plug this into to make it work? That'll suck. So I rushed to buy one of these because when they first got announced, they went out of stock pretty much straight away. And then I was waiting, and then DigiKey released some. I think they released like 114, and I just bought one. and by the end of that day they were all gone again. So I don't know what I need to use. I don't think I need anything else to use this, do I? I'm pretty sure I don't, but maybe I do. I have to say it in Scottish. One moment, please. Oh, my Scottish accent is terrible. I can't do accents at all. My best accent is an Irish accent, and it is shocking. I can't even do an Australian accent. So this is the kit, and comes with a whole bunch of cables, and it's a power profiler. I don't think I need anything else to work with this, do I? You have the first version. I didn't even know about it till I think it was Adafruit was showing it, and I went to buy one and they were all gone. Yeah, it does look pretty slick in the case, I've got to say. It's got a logic port and anyway, I'm not going to plug this in today. I'm not going to use it today, but I just wanted to let everyone know I've got one, which would be pretty exciting, because I've also got my very cool DMM. I've got my ouchie DMM. I've got now this, and I've also got a current Ranger. And to be honest, I've not been overly impressed with the current Ranger and consistency on readings and stuff. It's been a while though since I've really needed to measure anything. But anyway, the problem with the current Ranger is you get a value. You don't get a value over time, but you can connect a scope to this, and then you can get data out on a scope, but you still can't really log it properly. What I want to measure, and what this profiler kit is going to be really good at, is I want to, for instance, measure how much power it takes, for instance, to come out of deep sleep and to reload the radio cache, compared to and how much power it takes and how long it actually takes, compared to how long it takes from a clean boot, for instance, right? So like an ESP32 is said to, when the radios get turned on for calibration, it's said that the ESP32 can take up to 500 milliamps, right? But if you try to find out, well, how long does it need 500 milliamps for, you can't really get that information. DK development kit, just Google. Okay, what are they for though? Yeah, it's hollow in the center. There's nothing in the center. I don't know why that is. That is hollow. You can see my finger. You can see my face. Yeah, I'm not sure why that is, and it does look pretty snazzy. So what I'm interested with this is to be able to log power over time, which is what this seems to be really cool for. It's a tiny picture frame. Yes. For tiny pictures. Anyway, so I'm excited to have a play with that. I don't know when I'm going to do it though. Alright, I don't know when. But it's on my list. And I do have... no, I'm not going to say anything. Pass. Won't finish that sentence. Let me move this out of the way. Whoa, what a mess. Okay, so that was number one. What did I miss? Like a Polo Mint. Of course you have it, Mark. Yeah, ST do some interesting profiling stuff, but this apparently only goes down to, is it 1 or a couple of microamps? I can't measure below that. With the current Ranger, I can measure into the nanoamps. Hey, Andy Mouse. But what I can't measure over time. I can't log and measure over time, which is something that I've been missing. I'm more interested in that than I am in how low can I get. Like, for instance, the rating of the Tiny Pico or the rating of my Feather S2, how low can I get it into deep sleep? I used to think the the important thing was what's the lowest deep sleep power consumption I can get. But it's actually not, because it varies, and it depends what other peripherals you've got connected. And then having a really low deep sleep is one thing, but chewing too much power to wake up out of deep sleep, for instance, that's more of a problem. That negates any gains you get potentially in deep sleep, depending on how long you're sleeping for. So I've never had the ability to log over time, and there's some really great power logging tools out there, and hardware out there, and it's really expensive. So this is the first thing I've seen that's actually really cheap and affordable. So yeah, I use the old power profiler to use my NRF keyboard firmware power. Cool, I'll have a look at your video later, Pierre. But anyway, so that's what I wanted. Why is the auto ranging unusable for you, Renan? The current ranger for me, the auto ranging works, and it's really important. You need that for the ESP32 because it does go all the way from high milliamps all the way down to, like, in my case, I can measure down to, I want to measure down to nanoamps, so it's got to change range 3 times, which is the problem with the current, what's the other one? What's the current ranger? What's a Davy Jones one? His doesn't auto range, which means you have to manually switch the range, and if you have an ESP32 and you switch it down to, from higher power down to low, it causes problems because it can't switch to, anyway. I'll stop talking about that. Hi, Ray. Next thing. Hello, Dustin Will, Michigan. I got a package from Marius. Is Marius in the chat? I don't know. Hey, Equitima, I think. Oh, ramen. Now I'm hungry. Hey, Electronic Smoke UK. So this is the next thing I got. This is from Marius, who has a company called Contrary.io. And I've blanked it all out. I've not opened it yet. I bought this off him. He posted this on my Discord, I think. He might have posted it on a stream a little while ago. He's come up with some development boards. Well, they're mainly boards designed to eventually do home automation projects. But he's got quite an interesting design with them. Oh, they're all a bit dusty on the cardboard. Sorry. So this is his quite an interesting design. So it's an ESP32. It's a rover. It's not an S2. It's just a regular. And this is the design of the board, which is quite interesting. And it's designed to be stacked up. And he uses these FPC connections to join stuff together. So, and his video style is pretty cool as well. He's got that whole black, dark hacker thing going on his videos. So I bought his complete kit. So, like, you got an ESP32 here, which doesn't have any of the USB stuff on it, because it doesn't always need the USB stuff. And then he's got his USB breakout board here, which has got micro B on it, right? And then he's got this sensor board here, which has got a CS811, an OPT 3001, and a BME 280 temperature sensor. So temperature sensor, ambient light sensor, and a gas sensor on it. And he's also got this breakout board. Hey kids, HD TV. Hello, Fred Flintstone. So I'm just catching up on chat. And then he's got this other board here which you put headers on, and you can plug that into a breadboard. And so all of this stuff connects via these ribbon cables, right? And he's got a bunch of standoffs for them, how they join together. I'm going to make a mess everywhere. Ooh. So, courier message. So the idea is you stack these together, and you connect them by a ribbon cable. So they're pass through. So you would these pin down or pin up? I'm assuming they are pin down. So you'd connect that here. If I can get it in. Oh, interesting. Sorry, wrong way. These are the back to front ones. I've not seen that before. Has anyone seen that before? I'm used to the connector being at the front. How do these work? Anyone know how these work? So like I'm used to, here you've got the connector at the front, so that you pull the black tabs out, put your ribbon cable in and clamp it. I'm not sure how these, and the same like with the Raspberry Pi cameras and stuff. Need to pull up the black bar. Yeah, I pulled it up. It's up. Right, and then and it's pinned down. Right, so the pin's got to be at the bottom. Right, and then you push the black bar down. Right. Okay, that got it now. That got it. I didn't push hard enough, I don't think. Don't mention upside down connectors. Anyway, so you do that, and then you'd get your, I don't even know how these work, how they join together. You connect these in, I believe. And then you'd put, how does that, I don't know what order they go. They must go, okay, however it works. Okay, I'll speak to Marius and ask him for some instructions, assembly instructions. You'd end up, you'd stack up the boards like this. He's got it all on his video. He's got a video about it all. And the idea is you'd have different boards that do different things that you can then stack and stack and stack. So you could put that one there, and then you could, you know, maybe there was a display one that you'd stick on the top. And so it's a stackable microcontroller, like sensors and board system, that uses a high density cable between them all. Hey Sebastian B, where am I from? I am from Australia. I'm in Melbourne, Australia. Anyway, I'll have to work out, because these two connectors are both facing to the right, so I don't know how they're designed to flip into each other. I might just quickly, so I don't lose them, put all this together. Otherwise I'll lose these little standoffs. But it's an interesting idea of how they all stack, and they're really nicely designed PCBs. Oh, doesn't it? Here we go. They're nicely designed PCBs. I have great apple strudel. We have great apple. We have the best food ever here. We're very multicultural. Anyway, it's a really interesting idea. I like it. And I wanted to support him, and so I bought a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm even considering maybe making a couple of add-on boards for it. I've been speaking to Marius about it. Let me move this out the way. I don't want to lose it. I'll put it back in the box for now. Just on my floor. Hopefully I won't step on it. What did I miss in the chat? Typo 10 degrees equals 180 degrees. Hey Graham. Single side and a wrap. Yeah, it might be back to front. Like I might have them the wrong way around. Yes, I'll have to. Again, some assembly instructions will be good. I'll ping Marius later, or I should ping him on Discord now and say, "Hey, talking about you." I'm doing it now. Let's see if he comes on. Okay. What's the reason for not using stackable connectors? I don't know. This is his design, not my design. I do know that stackable connectors, mezzanine connectors, for good connectors are quite expensive for high density, and their mating cycles, unless you pay a lot of money, are really low. Like in the the dozen type thing. So yeah, like I had some designs for my Nano early on that was going to be mezzanine connected, and I actually didn't, because the only way I could get mezzanine connectors that I didn't have to worry about people destroying them by pull part together were going to cost me like $11 each just for the connectors. So yeah, it just wasn't worth it. What are we talking about? Voltage, whatever. Okay, last box. I got another package from Core Electronics. I'm going to open that now as well. Got some more goodies inside it. And then we'll move on to the main event. I did hopefully scrub out my name, but maybe not. Just going to open this over here. I bet you can't guess what's inside. Now it's interesting having Mark and Johnny here. Ooh, okay. But you can't guess. Can anyone guess? Anyone? Mark already guessed. Pies! Yay! I have so many Raspberry Pis now, it's not funny. I've got some more pie stuff here and packaging. This one wasn't squished. Hey Frank. Marius is here. Hey Ian. Yes, Marius is here. Oh, too late. You missed it. I was showing off your boards. I don't understand how they stack together. Needs instructions. Stacking instructions, my friend. No, really good. Nice boards. I might come back to them. Hello, Tony. Raspberries are out of season. Okay, let's get all the goodies out. So, the first thing, the most important thing is I got myself a Stackable wire. I love this wire. It's my most favourite wire, this SparkFun wire. So yeah, this is what I use for all my power connectors and stuff for my reflow masters, and they're always out of the black, and so I bought red and black. Anyway, I really love this wire. SparkFun. Got myself a new Argon case, a Neo case this time, because I wanted access to the camera. And I got myself another Pi 4 gig, because the Pi that I was using with the HQ camera that I've been experimenting with, which is what this is for, the case is for, I had to steal for a test jig. So I don't have to open that. Anyway, power supply, case, Pi, the on-off switch adapter, which I love, and another HDMI connector because I'm going to set up a screen and keyboard and the Pi in a case with the high quality camera. And I've discovered that doing all my experimenting with the camera, where I'm SSH'd into the Pi and taking photos and then having to pull the photo down and copy it over to my Mac to have a look at, is a real pain in the backside. I didn't want a Pi 400, to be honest with you, because the idea is that this is temporary, and then once it's working, I don't need the monitor and keyboard or anything anymore, and then I can just remote access to it. But while I'm developing and while I'm playing with it, having, being able to actually see the desktop for the Pi, and like take a photo and look at the picture straight away type of stuff is much easier. But I don't really want it to be it's not going to be a desktop solution once it's in play, if it ends up being in play. Audio breakups? Anyone else getting audio issues? Yeah, the Argon case with the M.2, I could have got that from my other one for the garage. I don't really need the speed of an M.2 drive. It was just a blip. Okay, good. I'm glad. Just an audio pop. Maybe it was me going. Okay, so that's my mail. Lots of Pi stuff. Let's get on to the chest jigs. So, it was more times. Like that. Hey, Simple Electronics. Okay, so while I don't have audio issues, Johnny's got an Audi issue. Okay. Yeah, not the same. Hey, Rob Robbins, you ordered one of the ESP32 watches. Which one? There's lots of different ones. I'm not charging my phone. Hey, Torsten. Hi to anyone that I haven't said hi to, by the way. Did I say to Kane? Hi, Kane. I don't know, I'm looking back quickly. I hope all my friends, all of our friends I know globally it's a problem, but in the UK, I just heard this morning that you guys have gone into complete strict lockdown. Definitely some audio pops. Turn my microphone around. I don't know what it is. I'm really not liking this version of OBS. Anyway, yeah, I just want to say to all the UK folks here, good luck. We know what lockdown is like. It sucks. No, load of crap. Most of the UK is still working. Yeah, well, you're going to have to be in severe lockdown soon, hopefully. So Graham asks, what's the date today? Graham asks, Simple Electronics, when are you going to have a chat with Sion? I'm loving your podcast. So Simple Electronics podcast is fantastic, and we have already had a chat, haven't we? And guess when the podcast is coming out? Surprise! Have I just ruined the surprise? I might have just ruined the surprise. Here in France it's still FUBAR. Yeah, all the governments need anyway, let's not talk about it. I just heard this morning there was an announcement. Well, I can't remember. I can't remember what date it was. I know it's single figure, but I can't remember if it's. See, it's the 6th for me today. It's the 5th for most people. So was it the 7th? Nah, it's okay. It's okay. I think it's the 7th. Or it could be the 9th. I don't remember. Early access is coming in about 12-ish hours. Yes. So we had a long chat. It was a long podcast. It was good. It was really good. Pretty excited. This is my my first podcast I've been on. Excuse me. It's already Emma's birthday today. That's why I said happy birthday. Okay, so let's talk about these test jigs. So this is, I got the updated version for the Tiny Pico working. I don't have the correct acrylic to hold it in place, but I can stick a board here. What am I sitting on? There we go. But, you know, I can stick a board here. Without the guides, it's a real pain. Or it's much easier when there's a cable plugged in. So I can stick the board there and I can clamp it down and test it, and it works great. Ooh, that went a bit choppy then. And I can also do the same with the USB-C version. Put it in. I don't have a cable. You know, and clamp it down, right? So I hate them. I hate this design. Hate it, hate it, hate it. And I'll tell you why. And what did I miss? England did it the other day. Wales, a lockdown, 26th December. It's only news when England do it. Well, maybe there was news about it and I just didn't see it. I don't know. I don't spend a lot of time watching the news, to be honest with you, or reading any papers or anything. If I can spoil it, the conversation was fantastic. I don't know. I think it's a story I already know, right? So I hope people will enjoy it. I mean, a lot of folks here will already know about it, you know, about my journey. It's about, yeah, but yeah, it's a great podcast. You should all check it out. And I think I did the wrong link to it. What's your preferred? I'm just going to put you as a moderator, Simple Electronics, because I posted a link. I think it was last week or the week before, whenever it was, and but I think I didn't use. I used a link to your podcast, but I don't think it was your preferred one. So you're a mod now. Feel free to post the proper link where everyone can check out. So I hate this design, and so Mark, straight up, this is why it's interesting having you both here, you and Johnny. So the first thing I would love to do, and I can't do, is move to a compute module like a CM4, because there aren't any. You can't get them, and I've been told they're not going to be readily available again until possibly July. I can't wait till July to solve my test jig problems. Yes, so Simple Electronics is on YouTube. Yes, he's got a lot of stuff on YouTube. Is YouTube your preferred though, or is it one of the podcast? Because not everyone wants to listen on YouTube. Some people want to listen just through the podcast, like podcast app or whatever. So yeah, what's your preferred link for your podcast, like the audio only one? Anyone's fine? Okay, that's fine. Okay, I wasn't sure. Well, there you go. So what I don't like about this is its height. Like it's actually, I know it seems silly, but when you're trying to get the boards in and out really quickly, even with a big base like this, it's not overly stable, especially when you're trying to clamp, right? Like it's really easy to, it moves around and stuff, and it's to do with how high it is. I mean, if you look at the stack up, it's pretty crazy, and it doesn't have to be this high. But the reason I have so much clearance on the bottom and so much clearance here, like I could have designed the board in a way that I could have reduced this, is the pie gets quite hot, right? I've got heat sinks in there, but it's not that there's an issue with the pie getting hot. The issue is that the heat rises and it warms up this board, my test jig board, and it transfers the heat onto whatever board is being tested. So like I could, when this has been running for a while, right, and I could stick a board in here, not even testing it, just put it there and leave it there for like 30 seconds and take it off, and the board will be quite warm, even though it's not being powered on. So that's one problem. The other problem is, well, there's several, there's many. I don't have any more of these OLED screens, and I don't really want to buy any more, and screen prices have gone through the roof. and they're quite restrictive. I mean, the I2C, which is nice, but in terms of this, the space on the screen, they're quite restrictive. And these have got feet on them. Like the issue isn't rubber feet. The issue is the balance, right? And I've obviously also been testing thousands of boards. I'm just going to go back to me for a bit. I've been testing thousands of boards, and like more, like I've been testing double what I've been making, because every board goes to the test jig twice, right? And not only does that double the amount of time I'm using the test jig for, but what I've started doing is the second test doesn't have to be the same as the first test, right? The first test, my jig's footprint is too small. Well, yes and no. So when I'm sitting here working, testing, I have got 4 or 5 of these laid out in front of me. And I'm like testing feathers at the same time as I'm testing tiny picos, at the same time as I'm testing other things. And I've got, you know what I mean? Like I don't have the room to put big, massive feet down. Not feet, bases to stop them from moving, right? I can make them bigger, sure, but that's not really a solution. Well, that's one solution, but I've got many issues that I want to look at. I don't know what the audio popping is. Let me just turn my audio down a bit. I've just turned my audio down. Maybe it'll be a bit softer now, but maybe that'll help. Still, maybe that's something. Okay. Anyway, let's not talk about a solution for the bass yet, because I've got more things, right? So I test the boards before they go in the ultrasonic cleaner, and then I test them again afterwards. And the reason I do that is mainly because I'm paranoid, but it is possible that there are weak solder joints, and that they get exposed once they go through the ultrasonic cleaner. Very rarely do I have a problem, but I'm not prepared to send a board out without retesting it again. But it doesn't have to do the complete test again, right? It doesn't have to do a complete erase of the board and a reflash of firmware. At the end of the day, all it needs to do is, can it still connect to the board? Can it transfer files back and forwards? And does the test suite work again? So what I've started doing is setting up 2 tests. I've got a full-on test, and then I've got an ultrasonic clean test, which, if a full test is 38 seconds, I can get the ultrasonic clean test to maybe 25 seconds, right? And that 10 seconds or 15 seconds makes a huge difference when I'm sitting there with a pile of 500 boards that I need to test. Thanks, Simple Electronics. Well, it's 2 reasons. Like, obviously, I want the user experience to be good. I don't want someone to get a board and it's faulty, right? I don't want that. But it's also from a commercial point of view, with the cost of freight right now, that for me to replace one board for someone that's faulty, it's like I lose my profit on almost 4 boards. No, probably over 4 boards right now to replace one board, because the shipping cost alone is like more than double the profit I make on a board, plus I'm losing the profit on that board, plus I'm losing the cost of that board, right? So it's also, from a financial point of view, every board I have to replace sets me back quite a few boards. So what I've been doing is I've got 2 sets of code, and I've got to load the right code for the test, depending on whether it's a before and after. And I shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to just trigger which test I want to run on a test jig, but I've only got 1 button input. And what I found with the Pi is working with the I/O on the Pi is nowhere near as nice as working with the I/O on a microcontroller. Doing things like detecting double clicks and doing interrupts and all that type of stuff, just it's shocking. 10 seconds and 500 boards is an hour and a half. And it's not just an hour and a half, it's an hour and a half of saved time, right? Hey, Dustin. Anyway, so So there's that. So I want to put a new screen on. I'm going to stick one of these on. I just realised I moved them away. So I'm going to stick one of the IPS screens on, right? 160 by 80, much higher resolution. It's not so much about the color, but I can put one of these directly on the board. I don't have to have this silly standoffy thing on them. I can put it directly on the board. I want to stick at least one other button, if not two. So I want to have 3 buttons on here, so I can do I can launch 3 different tasks from the one test jig. Now, I can't get the buzzer stuff working. I've confirmed that I can get PWM out of the pin it's connected to, but I can't drive enough out of that PWM pin. Like, I don't have it here. I've got another board where I've literally like swapped out stacks of components on the buzzer. Doesn't matter what resistor I stick before the transistor, with or without the diode, whatever voltage I use for the buzzer, I can't get it to make any sound because the PWM signal coming from the buzzer is just, it's too low. It's ridiculous. I mean, you can lose the RGB LED too. No, I want the RGB LED. I want the having the results on the screen is one thing, but I can see the LED from the distance, right? I don't have to go and lean over and look at the screen. But I don't want to use a through-hole LED anymore. I want to use a surface mount, right? So I want to get rid of a lot of the through-hole stuff on the board. Now, something that Chris mentioned the other week, I don't know if it was last week, could have been last week, with the toggle switch, gives you 2 program options. No, because I still need a button. I need a press button to start, like the way the jig's set up. So I want to put 3 buttons on. 3 buttons is not a problem. I've got the space for it, so I want 3 buttons. Why don't you do parallel tests? I can't do parallel tests on test jigs. We discussed this already multiple times. It's not possible. I can't flash 2 tiny picos, for instance, at the same time. I don't have... Yeah. It's not what I'm looking at doing. It's a single test jig per board. Let's just stay focused on that. It's a passive buzzer, not an active buzzer. Hey Tom, I don't want an active buzzer. I want to be able to change the sounds of it. So yeah, I could just stick an active buzzer on there, and all it can do is beep at one frequency. I want to be able to alter its frequency, just like I do on my Rooflow Master, which works fine. But the issue is that what I'm driving it from, like, even though I'm driving it through a transistor, like the signal that's coming through from the I/O on the Pi is just, it's weak as. Like, I've checked it on the scope. It's really, really bad. Anyway. Right. So yeah, I want to put just a surface mount LED. I want the LED to give me the results so I can see from a distance. Yeah, I don't want to have to count the beeps. I don't want to have to be listening, right? That's the point. Like, I don't want to have to concentrate to hear what the result was. I'll either want to hear a beep that's good or a bump, which is bad. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to have to, was that 1 count? Was that 5 counts? Whatever. I could do that. Not really what I want for this. Use a logic level MOSFET. I could. Right. Anyway, so let me keep going. So Chris mentioned last week about an idea to encode the daughter boards with an EEPROM or something, so I could have a set of code on there and it knew what it needed to do based on what the board was. And I kind of dismissed that as something that I didn't need. But if I'm going to redesign this, I'm going to do something like that. But I'm not going to do it with an EEPROM, I2C EEPROM. I think the simplest thing to do, either way, I don't have extra pins to do I2C. I have to add extra pins. If I'm going to do that, I might as well just add 3 pins, or add some pins and stick voltage divider on there and just do that. But that won't work because I've got no, there's no analog input on the I/O on the Raspberry Pi. So what I'm going to have to do is do a like a 3 resistor pull up, pull down, take 3 pins, and that way I can set an address, right? So each one will have their own address. Right, I could stick an STM32 on there, I could stick a Tiny on there, I could do all sorts of things I could put on there, but none of them are as cheap or as simple as 3 resistors as an address. Sounds like an interface to Google's speech API is in order. Yeah, no, I don't need to go that advanced. I don't want to talk to it. I've got, as I said before, I've got maybe 4 or 5 test jigs in front of me. I can't control them via voice when I've got 4 of them sitting there. I don't want to be adding super expensive hardware when I don't need to. So about using JTAG in boundary scan to test plenty of... Okay, so let's do a quick rundown of why I do this the way I do it, okay? Every board must be tested with the USB connector, via the USB connector. So, like it or not, the board has to be connected like that and plugged in. That's by design. I will not be changing that. I will not be using JTAG. I won't be using test probes underneath. I won't be doing anything else. Right? This is the only way I can test every single part of the board. Right? This is the way it works. This is intentional. I'm not looking to change any of it. Okay? Not looking to change it. As we're going to use an EEPROM because that's what the reserved pins on the Raspberry Pi are used for detecting the hats. Hello, Tim. So reserved pins on the Raspberry Pi are used for detecting the hats. Interesting. I did not know that. Hey, pile of stuff. Puff of smoke for fail. Yeah, I'd prefer not to do puff of smoke for fail. Can't you use an I2C extension? An extension on where though? I'm already got... Where's that? I don't have a board. I need to pull this apart. Let me pull this apart so you guys can remember what's underneath. I'm already using... I've got 40 pins coming onto the daughter board and they are all being used at the moment. I have no extra pins coming into the daughter board, which means I have no way of, like, if I'm going to add anything, adding 2 pins, adding 20 pins makes no difference, right? But I'm pretty sure using an EEPROM, an I2C EEPROM is going to be more expensive, and I have to be able to flash the data on the EEPROM. Much more expensive than sticking 3 resistors on, wouldn't you think? Like, why are we overcomplicating this? So I'm already using 2 MCP 23017s, so 16 port IO expanders. So it gives me 32 pins coming onto this board, plus all of the sense hookups and everything else. I don't have any pins spare on these 2 20-pin headers to do any type of addressing or put I2C into it or anything else. I'd have to add more pins, right? Which means I'm going to have to make the adapter boards bigger. And if I'm going to make the adapter boards, well, it's all going to need a bit of a redesign, right? Right, you're overcomplicating this because you don't have to build it for me, right? Or have to pay for them. So, as nice as an EEPROM might be, it's just not needed, okay? So, I mean, you all know your binary, right? How many different boards can I have from 3 pins? Anyone? Bueller? Wow, I've got 2 different answers so far. 3 different answers. 4 different answers. 42, the meaning of life. Wow. Now, I didn't expect this from this community. All of them. Maybe need to use the 24-bit I/O expanders I have. No, I don't need to use 24-bit I/O expanders. The I/O expanders are for testing the I/O of the board under test. They don't need to be used for... I mean, I could use them, I guess, to add extra I/O, but I've got plenty of spare I/O from the Pi header. I've also got stacks of these ICs, so it doesn't make any sense for me to go and buy a whole bunch of new ones. Okay, so there are 8. There are 8 different values. So I can have 8 unique boards I can test. No, I don't need 0, 0 for not connected. No, I know not connected. So, yeah. I don't need a not connected state. So I've got 8 addresses. So that's 8 different boards I can test with this. And all I have to do is add one more pin and one more resistor. All right, and then I've got 32. 32? Yeah, 32. Just bit bang I squared C. Bit bang I squared C to what? So the easiest and simplest solution is just to be able to put resistors on there. Yeah, one more bit is 16. Sorry, I can't count. There you go. I just did the same thing. So I'm pretty sure that by the time I have 8 boards I need to test, a few of them I won't be testing anymore. I would have, like, if I've got 8, we're talking about microcontroller boards, right? We're not talking about test jigs for something like this. I'm talking about something that has its own USB interface. I don't have any spare pins for detection, Rhoda. I have to add. And if I'm going to add, I'm not going to add just 2 for I squared C and then have to buy EEPROM chips and then have to have a way of programming those EEPROM chips to be able to set them when I can just stick 3 resistors on there with 3 pins. I have to add pins, right? The other thing I want to do is get rid of these headers. So these were originally designed on the Raspberry Pi. Sorry, I know you don't like the EEPROM idea. No, it's not that I don't like it, but it adds costs. I have to go and source a chip. I have to buy the chips. I have to be able to flash the chips. And then it's not going to give me anything more than what I can do with some resistors, is what I'm saying. What works? I can give you one suggestion. I really think this might work well for you. Was it LCS C C9? Okay, let's find out what this part is. It's a 1-wire watt. Resistor's not 4 cents. Resistor's like 0.0003 cents. I'm pretty sure I've got like 1 million resistors here, right? Microchip. Was it AT? Is this the one? What is this? Non-volatile, 1 kilobyte, I2C, single wire. Okay, and how do I program it? And it's got a unique ID built in, but it's going to be the same unique ID. I need different unique IDs, right? So it's got, oh, each one's got its own unique ID. No, I don't want that. Yeah, no, that doesn't work for me. I need one ID for 4 test jigs, and they are all Tiny Pico test jigs. I don't want unique. I want 4 daughter boards that are all one address, and then I want 2 daughter boards that are this address, and I want 4 daughter boards that are this address, right? Like, I want to be able to put all the daughter boards in and test and have 5 Tiny Pico test jigs. And then I want to pull 2 of them out, put 2 of them in, and I've got 2 feather test jigs. Are there I/O expanders connected together with I2C? Yes, they are, but they're on the Raspberry Pi side, not on the daughter board side. There's something has to live on the daughter board. Hey, Robson. Well, it's the same thing. I still have to add an ADC to the Raspberry Pi at a cost, and then have to add 2 pins. Sorry, add at least a pin to the daughter board, and then have to sit a voltage divider on there. Why not just put 3 pins with 3 resistors? Like, again, everyone's really overcomplicating this, which is usual for this channel, which is fine. But yeah, it would have been nice, except I don't want unique. I need preset. Why not print it and scan it? Hey, Jay, print it and scan it. How about using 3 resistors? Like it's really the simplest thing, 3 resistors. You know, like that's how you set addresses on I2C, on chips that have I2C. Like, yeah, I don't want to print it and scan it. Resistors are how USBs and batteries. Yeah, like resistors, it's just the way to go. Hey, Sam. Yeah, I'll stick an FPGA on it. So the other thing is, so I don't know if you all remember, but I deliberately set up offset pins on here, right? And with the intent that I could do this. Let's see if I can get it in. These pins have been bent a bit, but I should be able to. Maybe. So the pins have been bent because I don't have 20 pin female headers. So I had to use 2 sets of headers, and you can see the gap here maybe is wider. So when you plug this in, you might be able to see that there's a bit of a bow before it slots in, because it has to bend the pins to get it together. Oh, it'd be absolutely nice to have a chip that I can do it with, but it's at a point now where I think it just overcomplicates it. Right, so that's not going to go in anyway because of the length of that. Let me just get a different one. I'm going to show you. How about adding an I expander to the daughter board with pogo pins that touch the I2 pins on the chip? Again, what's that going to help me with? Like, why do I need... I don't need an I/O expander on the daughter board. Like, that seems like a crazy amount of work just to be able to to replace 3 resistors. Okay, so there we go. So this is the Nano one, right? So this was always designed that I don't need headers. These are staggered. Like, this should have electrical connectivity. Should. Like, that's actually quite well put in. Yeah, Paul's got a cuppa. So I need clearance because of the chips, but I could reduce the height of the board under test from a significant height, all right, down to there. Oops, let me get it straight. So we're talking about reducing half the height There is no ADCs on the Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi is digital I/O only. There is no analog input on the Raspberry Pi. I'd have to put dedicated hardware on there. So that doesn't work. Right. I would have to redesign a little bit. I'd have to move the MCP away from underneath. Move them out the way so I've got clearance for pogos. I don't need pogos this length. I can buy shorter pogos. I can also clip these pogos off. Right? And I can also use those other pogos that we looked at ages ago. Hey Tom, catch you later. What? I'm off to work and I'm on holidays. That sucks. Yeah, give me more crazy ideas. I can use those ones that you solder in that are really short stub ones. They're not like this. Yeah, the other thing I can do is I can put... Where do I have one? So I've got this height underneath the Raspberry Pi anyway, right? Which I'll talk about in a moment. So I can put surface mount headers on the bottom. I mean, obviously these are the wrong ones. Okay? That these can connect into from the other side. You can buy single row headers. So they can clip in underneath like that. You can get those. These aren't the right ones. So, Johnny and Mark, what are you guys doing with your test jig thing? Because you're using you're designing it around a compute module. Like, what are you doing? Like, because there's no compute modules around. I'm sure you've got a couple, but what are you going to do? Surface mount solder blobs with the daughter board held on with magnets. I don't know about that. Could use comparators to convert analog voltages to binary addresses. No ADC required there. Right, but that's still a lot more work than 3 IOs with 3 resistors. Like, SSH to the Pi and just tell it what board that is mounted. Well, that's what I do right now. That's what I do right now. But I would have thought that it'd be nicer. Okay, so you got some compute modules, but how are you going to build multiple test jigs, or is that it for now? That's all you're going to use it for? Because I could solve all of this using a compute module, and instead of stacking a high test jig like this, I could make a flat test jig as big as I needed, where the compute module would just sit on the board, and everything would be nice and low down and much easier to work with. I thought you said the problem was test pins for testing longer module. What? I'm confused. I thought you said the problem was last of test pins. No, I can add more pins. I don't have more pins on my current board. I can add more. Like if that's coming off and I'm putting a screen directly on, I mean, obviously not on a shield, right? And I'm putting buttons here and I'm putting a screen on here or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like I can add pins. Not a problem. I can get more pins in. I've got spare I/O on the Raspberry Pi to read them. And they're just digital pins. I can stick 3 pins. I can even have pins in the middle. They don't have to be on the header here. Right? I could have a whole nother row of pins here. Like another interesting thing is, this is not keyed. So I could plug this in backwards. Okay? But if I, for instance, stuck 8 pins down here and put 8 pins here, that's not 8, but you know what I mean? Whatever, you know what I mean? 8 pins here, then I would have a keyed daughter board, so I can't get it on the wrong way round, and have 8 more pins coming in, right? I think I now understand why design my committee seldom ends with well-engineered products. You're not wrong, but this is cool. Like, to be clear, hang on, let's change the thing. To be clear, I bring this up and talk about it on the stream. I'm happy to hear everyone's ideas. Like, I'm not suggesting that no one can contribute. Like, you know, there are lots of ways to skin this, and I'm quite happy to hear people's ideas. Like, it was, you know, Chris's prompting last week that at the time I wasn't planning on redesigning my test jigs, but now that I'd like to, that gave me, you know, that he was the one that suggested keying the daughter board to know what the board is, right? Which is a great idea. But that doesn't mean that has to be a complicated thing. So I share for a reason, and I'm happy to hear everyone's feedback on it. But I think there's definitely a, I don't know what the right word is. Like things definitely get way complicated, you know, way more complicated than they need to be, I think. Aeronox shop, Pomerani products, open in a new window. I don't have any space to stick a product on a header. Compute module. What, have they got compute modules in stock? In stock and ready to ship? Okay, no, I need wireless. Is that in stock? No, wireless is a pre-order. No, it has to be wireless, guys. I can't test without wireless. I can't connect to it without wireless. I'm not building Ethernet onto it. Yeah, which ones? Yeah, no, I need Wi-Fi. Okay, they don't have... Okay, interesting. I didn't know that. I thought they were all available and out of stock. Yeah, no, it's got to be Wi-Fi. Yeah. Unfortunately. Otherwise, I'd have to... There'd have to be an Ethernet. I don't want an Ethernet solution because I don't want to be carrying a router around with me every time I want to... Like, sometimes I'm testing in the house, sometimes I'm testing here, sometimes I've got test jigs set up over there. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they've got to be Wi-Fi. You can put a Wi-Fi... Well, no, because then I have to connect USB, and I have to set up a USB host. So that makes my test jig board a much more complicated board to build. Can we not add a tiny Pico to a CM4 to provide Wi-Fi? No, but I can add an ESP32 to a CM board and put it in and use it for SPI Wi-Fi. But then I have to write drivers for that, for the Pi to talk to it properly. And again, way overcomplicated solution for now. Like, if I'm going to design a new board around the compute module, I want the compute module. I know you've got a board already made, but I need more than just a USB hub. But I don't. But again, like, okay, if I need all of that, I buy a Raspberry Pi. I've got a Raspberry Pi. I don't think I had any audio blips last stream. It's the same OBS version as last time. No, I don't what? Hey, Miroslav, I don't what? No, you do not. I do not what? There is one USB connected directly to CM4. So, hang on a second. Sorry, where's the I'm talking about USB ports. I need a USB port to plug my device into, and so I would need 2 USB ports, which means I'd need a hub, because I need one for the Wi-Fi dongle and I need one for the device I'm actually testing. So I do need a USB host. I need 2 ports. There are not 2 unique ports connected to the compute module as far as I'm aware. So, and even still, we're talking about a very complex board design setup compared to what I'm already using, which is a really simple design that can just be modified. So I need to have multiple USB ports on the host, on the carrier board. Why not use one of those logic analyzers things and the computer's port? The what? All good, Miroslav. All good, all good. I don't know what you mean, Jay. I need this as a standalone test jig, not connected to a computer at all. I can't move my testing to the PC. No, that is not a solution at all. Sorry, mate. I need, I've currently got 6 test jigs and I don't have enough. I can't have 6 test jigs connected to a computer, one computer, and limit where I'm working from and control all 6 or 8 of them at the same time doing all various different things. That sounds like a much more complicated thing to do than what I'm doing right now. I already have a working solution. I know you can, Jay. I'm sure I can as well, and I don't want to invest 6 months doing it. That's all. There's USB hub solution with about 4 passives and 1 IC. Right, it's still all of that is way more complicated than using a Pi, an existing Pi. But it's something that I could look at for the future. But my point was I can't get a compute module with Wi-Fi on it right now. Yes, I could design something around not having a compute module with Wi-Fi, but that sounds like it doesn't sound like it's worth it when I can already just get a Pi. Yeah, if that makes sense. So I want to reduce the height. Now, heat is a problem, as I said. Now, I could stick a fan in here, or I could stick maybe one of those sideway fans on the side to suck air out sideways to stop all the heat from rising and hitting this board. But I could also maybe change the design of the board to have a gap in it to let the heat out. Really don't want to get much more I/O from the CM4 than using a Pi. Right, but of the I/O itself is solved for testing is solved with the I/O expanders. So on my original design that didn't have the I/O expanders, I was using every pin on the header. Now I've got 8 pins free on the header because I'm doing everything else via these I/O expanders, and this will allow me to test 32 I/O. And my most complex board at the moment, which is my Pro S2, has 34 pins, of which I think only 28 or 27 are I/O. So this setup here is fine. Yeah, no, I agree. Mark, I don't. Other than it would allow me, if everything was available and I could do it, then it would allow me to have a very flat, different design where I could get rid of a whole bunch of hardware from the Pi that I don't need, like HDMI and stuff, and Ethernet ports, and I wouldn't have to have this stack up, right? So I would keep using what I've got now, and I would consider that transition. But no, Pi Zero won't help me. Pi Zero doesn't have hot swappable USB. I can't plug. Originally, my test jig design was going to be off a Pi Zero. You can't plug a Tiny Pico in and unplug it, and plug a Tiny Pico in and unplug it. It doesn't work that way on a Pi Zero. Just flip the headers on the Pi and mount it on the test jig. Right, or I could just have a Pi. Hold on a sec. This is my other idea. I can open this box, okay, is I could just use a ribbon cable. So here's a Pi, and I could use a ribbon cable, and this could just obviously flip the other way, whatever. The header's the wrong way around. All I can say is I saw this coming. You saw what coming? Or I could just do this, which is a much bigger footprint, right? But I could make it, this board wouldn't have to be this shape anymore. Okay, this shape is because it's got to sit on top of the Pi. But I could build a smaller board that could sit here, and I wouldn't have the restrictions of these headers being where they are. Because like a screen could go right here, except, oh, it can't, because there's a standoff here. Well, I connect to the board via Wi-Fi. I connect to the Pi, SSH to it via Wi-Fi, and then it talks Wi-Fi to the board under test to test Wi-Fi. So I can't test my board, for instance, here. I've got a board sitting here. I can't test the Wi-Fi on this board by using my Wi-Fi in my office, because I might be here today, I might be in the lounge room tomorrow, I might be close to the Wi-Fi, far away from the Wi-Fi, I might be, who knows where I'm going to be, I might be at someone else's place, I might be at a hackerspace with a different Wi-Fi, right? So having Wi-Fi on the Pi, I can do AP and connect directly just between these two devices, which is why I need Wi-Fi. Add a layer between plastic or PCB so that the screw send-offs can be wherever. I could, but I don't want to make a bigger board that sits on top. And so, yeah, probably don't really want to do that. Hey, Azzy. Hey, Photochromax. Happy New Year to you both. Do you test both directions? Pi's AP, then TP's AP? I don't. I only test one direction, but that's okay. I mean, I'm not testing like RX and TX. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not like testing speed and performance of the Wi-Fi. I'm testing that I can bring the radios up and that they work and that they connect. Set Pi vertical behind fixture. Right. Well, whether it's flat or... Well, no, I don't particularly want it vertical. Vertical doesn't help me because then I've got cables sticking out the top, which is a real pain, or cables on the bottom. So yeah, Pi vertical is not really a great option. But possibly something like this, where I don't need the daughter board to be so big, and I don't have to worry about the heat. Maybe that's just the way I need to go. I mean, it's a bigger footprint, but if you look at this as a footprint, it's maybe not that much bigger. Like, I can get the daughter board smaller, and then I don't have to worry about this movement like this. Could you shift everything on the right of the hat to the left and get around the high components? No, because I don't want to. I can't reduce the height. Like not having stuff here to I can't lower it because of the heat issue. Sorry, helmet. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So that's another option. Yeah. Cheap adapter to the CM4, but there is no. That's okay, Sam. No worries. But there is no cheap adapter. I'd have to make something custom again. See, anyway, the CM4 is not an option right now. Sorry, the CM4 is not a better option right now because of the no Wi-Fi on board and then the additional hardware I'd have to build to get it comparable to a Pi. And for the cost of a Pi that has it all on there anyway, and the fact that I've got a stack of Pis, right? I've got quite a few Raspberry Pi 4s now. I might as well just keep using the Raspberry Pi 4. That's what we were just speaking about, Azzy. So it goes Raspberry Pi multi-board tester, daughter board. Wouldn't it typically make that a granddaughter board? Possibly. Oh, hey, Alan. Yeah, my coffee's cold. I think I might need another coffee. An older Raspberry Pi definitely tests a little bit slower, but I've got a bunch of 4s. Like I've only got one B+, and that's my Octopi server. I don't have any more. So, and if I'm going to buy new Pis, I'm going to buy the 4s. I'm not going to buy the 3s. So they're not that much cheaper. Pause card time. Maybe in a few minutes. So yeah, having the headers then, doing that here, and I can still then use the female headers. By the way, I've got a bunch of 20-pin headers coming, but you know, I can still do that here. So I could keep this the same. I can stick some headers over here for keying and for the extra stuff I need. Obviously, this board's a problem. Whoops. The flip out area for the Nano. Where's the Nano? Well, I've got boards everywhere. So obviously the Nano goes in here, and I've got that section to flick out. I'd have to reconsider how that would work. No, I haven't worked out how to play a video on like a looping video or something on OBS. Every time I try, it doesn't work. I have spare... Oh, hey John. Hey Superhouse TV. Pi hat headers. What do you mean Pi hat headers? You're talking about just the these things? I've got quite a few of those. Is that what you meant? Or you meant cables? I've got a cable somewhere. So I do have one of these. Right? I mean, it's a bit long. I mean, doing something like that's going to be a bit of a pain, height-wise. I'd really like shorter ones. Oh, no. These headers. Sorry. 20-pin female headers I don't have. So I'm using 2 sets of headers right now, which means I get a join in the middle. So it's a double width gap over there, which is kind of bending the header pins a bit to get them in. That's all. I've got 20-pin, just female headers like that coming. Hey, Factory 400, offer completely untested units to brave customers at a discount. No returns, no refunds. Sure. No, making cables is not a problem, but like buying pre-made cables, which, you know, like I don't particularly want to spend my time making cables, but I can, and I can even just, I don't have a crimper. I used to have a crimper for these. I mean, I've got an IDE. How many pins was IDE? That was 40 pin, wasn't it? Was IDE 40 pin? I might have a crimper somewhere for this. But anyway, yeah, I could just buy some of these and do them shorter. Okay, yeah, or a crimper, was it 40 pin with SCSI? No, SCSI was 50. No, IDE was 40. Vice works, okay. And the other thing I could do actually is just build a riser PCB to join them together. right? I could just have a PCB that spanned the two. So put male headers in and then a PCB that sits on the top. Hooded headers can cause brain injury, so I'm trying to find a replacement. Okay. So I'm just reading back. If I missed anything. Yeah, I know I can shorten this one, but I need like 8 of them. So, yeah. C12. What is C124406? Hey, Flow Rider. Yahtzee. Love Yahtzee. Good game. Do you not make a small PCB with certain pins high, which you can put test position? With certain pins high. But why not just put that, Frank, directly on the daughter board? Like, why would I have to put something in, take it out, and then put the daughter board in? Or like that seems like a lot of extra painful work, and if I forget to do it, and blah, blah, blah. Pierre's talking about, what is this? L-shaped layer. But for what though? What would I use that for? Like, what am I having L-shaped? Sorry, I don't understand. Build a robot to do it. Well, that's what kind of this is, isn't it? Save table space. But by having something vertical, I can't. What am I going to have vertical? I don't want anything vertical. Vertical won't work for the Pi because I have cables sticking out the top. And vertical won't work for the test jig because I can't put the board in and clamp it down. Wasn't the 68-pin ultra scuzzy? But if I want, I can, if I want more addresses, I'll just have 4 pins and I can have 16 boards. I can put 5 pins and I can have 32 boards. Put right angle both and then they connect flat. But then how's that different to what I'm doing now? Like, why would I want it to be flat again? Then they're stacked. No, the adapter board can't be on the bottom because I can't get to it. Wagon loads, it's got to be on the top or next to. I'm loading boards in and out of it. So no, that's not going to help me. ZIF socket. What's the ZIF socket for? My 12C chip addresses. Mount the Pi upside down. How does the Pi upside down help me? You mean like that? Oh, sorry. So mount like this. I mean, sure. I mean, getting these two connected is not a problem. I mean, yeah, that could be mounted like that. I'm still worried about the heat coming off the Pi though. Hang on, do I have another header here? Okay. So if that was like that, and let me just So if that was there, right, and mounted and held on there, standoffs here, not a lot of room for heat, but that's okay. And then USB connectors come off here, come into here on this side. I still need one coming to this way, right? I guess I could always put the board under test on the other side. So that could be on here, over here. Did you say about having the Pi under the test board? But that's what I've got right now. That is the Pi under the test board. That's where I have a height problem, right? But here I don't have a height problem. I mean, well, okay, I do. I've got a clamping problem. Like, where do I get the clamp? Where does the clamp sit? Like, the clamp has to sit on the Pi. So, like, I don't have enough height to clamp a board on if I'm doing this. And that's not a great place to stick the clamp. Just glue it to that, yeah. Hey, Wota. No, I use these clamps for my test jigs. Yeah, I'm not sure about this. Put the Pi right side up with the headers flipped to the bottom side. Well, I have to they come with the headers soldered, but yeah, I have to desolder them. So what? So right side up with the headers down. I don't need such a high standoff. I could use a shorter standoff. So you're saying like that. I'm still going to have a clamp issue. Like I still have no place to stick the clamp. The only way I could do a clamp is if the board being tested was this way and the clamp was like that. But that is the Pi under. I'm back to this again. Pi under puts me back here. Okay. So the simplest thing I can do is add some pins here for keying, or actually, you know what? I don't even have to. They don't have to be there. I could actually add some pins just right next to it. Like, they're going to need new daughter boards anyway. Where's the clamp currently? Surely. Let me grab another, show you. So this is the Feather S2 test jig. I've pulled this other one apart, obviously. So that's where the clamp sits right now. Alright. It's clamped down here. So Feather S2 goes in. Where's Feather S2? Goes in here. Acrylic guide. Clamp down. Okay, that's how it works right now. As you can see, it's quite tall. Stacked up quite high. Pins in parallel would make lifting the daughter board less awkward. I'm not abandoning the display. No, I don't want to use these pins. They're in the wrong spot. I'd have to, the daughter board would have to then go all the way down to here. That doesn't make any sense. And these pins, yeah, anyway. I'm not abandoning, I'm changing the display. So I still need a place for the display. So ideally, look, the minimum I want is 2 buttons, ideally 3, different LED, but I could live with these LEDs still. I mean, at least it's higher. I'd like to go a different screen, but like I didn't even have to. Yeah. It's about improving my own workflow, my own usability. That's all. Like I can't tell you how many times I've gone to test boards after ultrasonic cleaning and I've forgotten to change the code, and suddenly I'm doing, 40-second retests on boards when I could be doing 22-second ones, right? And I don't realize because I didn't manually go and change the code. Make the top row double width, simpler to solder. The top row double width. Yeah, I could add a whole nother row of pins here, make the daughter board a bit wider, right, and have a whole extra row of pins here. Like there's lots of options for the daughter board. I don't have to have them here. It would still be keyed if I did that. Just use the display connector on the Pi. The HDMI, no, what am I going to plug the HDMI into? I need a little screen to be able to, Slide switch to switch between slow, quick test. Sure, but I still have to put a slide switch on. I could just put a second button. Test 1, test 2. Can I use TTGo T-Display? Where am I? Sorry, sorry, Wagon Loads. I'm not looking for a reinvention of. Yeah, no, it's. I know you came in late to the chat. No, the CSI, the ribbon connector. Right, but to what though? What am I going to connect that to? You're talking about this connector. Connected to what though? Like I need a display on here somewhere. Like there's got to be a display on the board. So the quick recap for those that came in late is I've got a whole bunch of test jigs I'm using, and I want to make. I was going to start off by just making some simple quality of life improvements. I wanted to add 1 or 2 extra buttons on it to be able to do different functions. I want to move to a different screen because I don't have any more of these screens, and it's a pain. I was ideally going to get rid of a lot of the through-hole components on the board and go surface mount, just easier to assemble. I wanted to key the daughter boards using 4 pins, additional pins I have to put on, so when I plug a daughter board into the test jig, it knows what board is going to be tested. How long am I streaming for? Forever. And ideally, if I could, I would like to reduce the overall height of the test jigs because they're stacked up really high and they become, it's a two-handed job to open and close the clamp, to hold it still. And it's fine, but like for instance, when I'm trying to put a board in and hold it and guide it, like and then clamp it down, it can be painful. I'm trying to make incremental quality of life improvements because I'm doing thousands and thousands and thousands of tests, right? And so any quality of life improvements, anything I can remove user error and improve the way things work is a benefit. So that was my plan. And then chat kind of blew up a little bit in terms of crazy ways that I could be doing the addressing. Catch you later, Bridan. See you later. Button screen SMD, sure. But with what goal? Bulk testing boards, bulk programming. Yeah, it's a test jig. It tests and flashes all of my boards before I ship them. I've got a Feather S2 version, I've got a Tiny Pico version, I've got my Nano version. Like, yes, and then I've got more boards coming, and I need to be able to expand what I test. So yes, that is the thing. I'm testing boards. Individually testing boards. I'm not looking at a solution for testing multiple boards at once. I'm just going to use I've got stacks of these displays. Where did I put it now? Gone again. These guys. I've got stacks of these LCD screens. Like hundreds and hundreds of them. You know, I don't need a screen that big. Just a small, the 0.96 inch screens. I don't know where I put it. I've lost everything. Oh, here it is. Gonna stick one of these on. And stick it on the board. And it just needs to be down the bottom, maybe, or somewhere I can see it. But obviously the height makes it harder to see. Hey, Dodgy Brothers. Well, I just went through a quick rundown of what I wanted to do, Wotar. Yeah, it was about incremental quality of life stuff. Considering that I'm spending days and days and days testing boards. So that's all. That's what I was thinking of doing. I mean, even the test jig, the clamp, and that header position, the standoff position right there is a real pain. I have to get these clamps on an angle, and that doesn't work really well with the new jig with my Tiny Pico. Where is it? I've lost it. I mean, ideally I should have moved these pins back because I can't get the clamp in a good position. If you look at the angle, I can't get the clamp to the center of the board. So I have to redesign the Tiny Pico daughter board anyway. And I've been planning on redoing the Nano daughter board because JLC PCB stuffed up all of the routing slots. Catch a mark. Yeah, I'll chat with you during the week, mate. Time savers / quality of life improvements. With the test board slides into. So if the plexiglass cutout had a groove that the test board slides into, but then it has to get pushed down on, it's got to get pushed down on the pogo pins. There has to be a clamp to hold it on, to push it onto the pogos. Like sliding it in won't help. It's just going to bend all the pins. Lay the Pi next to the test and run. Hi Paul, we just went through that whole discussion of having all the different orientations and having it next to, and then the issues with the clamp and stuff. Could I write the test results of the first one? No, because sometimes I want to run the first test again, and sometimes I want to run the second test. I might run a test and then it might fail on one I/O, or it might something, right? And I might need to run that one test again. So I can't rely on the board being tested to decide what test it gets. It's got to, I choose what test it gets based on what I'm doing at the time. So that needs to be by me. Yeah, I'm rethinking the test jig a bit, seeing how I can improve it. Hey David. Make the plexiglass the clamp. Yeah, no, I'm not sticking. Yeah. Well, how am I holding the how am I holding the acrylic down? And no, I'm not putting tough acrylic onto the top of a PCB to push it down. It's got to be a soft surface. I'm not looking at a different clamp solution. These clamps are fine. I was just stating that the pin position for these need to be shifted. That's all. Not an issue with the clamp. So I don't see how an acrylic as a clamp would work when I've got no flat surface on my boards. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different heights. On my tiny pick, I've got 5 different heights across the range of the board. So where's my pressure point holding it down? It's going to hit the tallest point, right? And then it's going to be pushing it down on the wrong angle. And if I look at my one with USB-C, it's going to push the USB port down. And the board's going to sit on an angle, which doesn't help. There's loads of adjustment left in the screw of the clamp. Not on my Tiny Pico one, there's not. There's no adjustment left on that to get it further to the left without making it sit too far back that way. It's rotated around as far as it can possibly go. And I can't get it left anymore because of that standoff position. And if I take that standoff position off, then I get flex on the acrylic when I'm moving it. Air pressure on here. It should be better to load the dut upside down. Well, I can't test the LEDs and RGB, like RGB LEDs and stuff if it's upside down. So that's a problem. It would require all the boards to be redone anyway. So, yeah, I'd rather the board be sitting upright. If you use longer standoffs, you can move the foot of the clamp over. What? Firstly, I don't want longer standoffs because then I've got higher, and I'm trying to avoid higher, remember? But I don't see how a longer standoff is going to work. It's still going to be screwed in at that point. It still has to be screwed in here. The only thing I could do was make this higher. So then I can move it over the top. So on my Tiny Pico test jigs, my original ones, which I'm still using, I actually drilled into the clamp and made the clamp sit on, screw in that hole into the standoff. So I made that as part of holding the standoff on. But that was a real pain. Like that was yeah, I'm trying to avoid doing that. But I don't need an adapter for the clamp. Like, I don't want to 3D print something that attaches the clamp that holds the board down. I need to just move where the board is being tested, or I need a different design that allows me to position the clamp in the right spot. The clamp is fine. If there's a brick at the bottom. Yeah, I don't want to put a brick at the bottom. Yeah, wagon loads, that's like a 100 times more complex design that has to be custom made and tuned for every single board type I'm doing, and won't work on my Nano because my Nano uses Frogo pins and no clamp. So yeah, That's, yeah. Yeah, building a hinge system to do all of that is way more complex than what I've got right now. Clamp point is below the base. By the way, this position works. I can hold it down at this point right now and it works. Like, it's not a problem. It's just not ideal. So again, reinventing the whole thing to solve this one position, it's not needed. If I have to make the daughter boards again, I just grab these pins and shift them back 10 millimeters. I have to make the daughter boards again because I want them keyed, remember? So once again, we're overcomplicating things. Plastic bag with water on top as a clamp. Well, I'm saying I'm not looking for a complex solution. I don't need a complex solution here. Okay. Like, I don't know, yeah. Like, that's my explanation. If I'm making the daughter boards anyway, remaking the daughter boards, I move some pins and my solution is done. I can move the board all the way over and have the clamp perfectly straight if I need to, right? I can do the same with this one. Like, they're all being remade. Okay, this is on a slight angle, not as much of an angle, to get it to sit in the middle. Okay. I've got it sitting between these two chips, which are pretty much the same height. And this makes the board sit very flat. Works great. I don't want to move this board any further back. Well, I can't right now because of the fact that I've got a screen, I've got everything else. But if I'm redesigning this, then I've got a lot more latitude. But for instance, this board is much longer. So I already have a problem with the position of all of these things, which is why another reason why I'm looking at changing this. If you rotate the pi connection versus the board, rotate the pi connection versus the board. Hang on. You mean versus the board being tested? Or versus like this board? You're talking about like this? Or you're talking about like... Or you're talking about like this? Yeah, the problem with the board is the version is 2020. I think you're talking about this, right? The problem with that is a long board and yeah, look, maybe I don't have enough space this way because of the headers. So I would have to make the board considerably wider. Right, so like the PCB is going to have to come out to about here. And it can clamp from here. I mean, that's a possibility. Memory foam on the clamp stump. But again, not needed because I'm having to redesign the boards anyway, the daughter boards, so I could just shift them. If you're designing daughter boards anyway, the clamp issue is solved. Exactly. What I'd like to do though is standardize on one clamp position and have the daughter board offset rather than having different clamp positions. Because the problem I've got right now is I have to do custom acrylic cutouts for every board, where the custom acrylic cutout should only really be defining how the board slots into the pins for testing, right? I mean, as you can see here, this is designed that it's keyed, right? I mean, sure, I could misplace the pins this way, but it's designed that if I put it in to the edge and put it down, I don't do stuff around, right? This is a good example of me not doing it. The Tiny Pico one has that, and also has the little fins on the side, so I can only, like when I put the board in, if it goes in the slot, it's automatically going to hit the pogo pins in the right spot. It is coffee time again. Use suction to hold the board down from underside. No clamp. How would I get suction in there? And enough to hold the board in. Have a robotic arm to clamp the board. Really? Tijiki says with Wi-Fi. Okay, interesting. I've been told from the Australian distributor that it'll be like closer to July until there's ample stock anyway. Yeah, I mean, these are all the clamps. I've got stacks of these clamps, so again, I don't want to have to go out and buy new clamps. These work. So, like the risk here is I end up redesigning so much that whatever time I save, like I lose so much time doing it just to save some time. Yeah, be careful with live build challenges. No, the community, look, there's stacks of really smart people here, right? And people who have solved things like this before in other ways. Like, it's why I'm happy to hear people's suggestions. It's just, yeah, it's about... I am not scared on taking on a difficult challenge. I don't like wasting time finding difficult or complex solutions for things that have a simple solution, right? Finding, sourcing, buying, waiting for, and using for the first time an I2C EEPROM chip to try to solve device addressing when I could just use 4 resistors with 4 pins. Like, is the I2C chip a more elegant solution? Absolutely. But is it way more work, effort, and risk and cost than using 4 resistors? Yes. So 4 resistors it is, right? Like, it just... I don't need the most complex solution. It's the same thing, like, you know, a compute module will solve a lot of these positional things and everything else, but will also add a back to square one from scratch redesign of this whole new... Like, I'm back to a version 1 design. Like, these are tried and tested. Like, as I said, I've run tests on these boards probably 30,000 times, at least, since my very first revision board, right? These are tried and tested. I don't want to change so much on them that I'm introducing new possible fail points for things that are already working, right? So, you know, 2 buttons is a perfectly good solution for the 2 types of tests. Yes, I could come up with a more complex solution that could maybe not work the first time, or it could have other knock-on issues that I hadn't thought about. But 2 buttons is nice and easy, right? So like that's the thing. So when I say I don't want to or I'm not interested in, I mean I apologize about my wording. I like to talk succinctly. It doesn't sound like it sometimes. I know because I waffle, but like my motivation is to get a result, not find the best solution. When the best solution is way more complex and risky than a simple solution that I know is going to work first time, right? My motivation is about getting stuff done. Like I want to, whatever I do, I want to do it and move on and not have to worry that I'm going to need to spin up a second board or a third board. Hey, Yaz, you know what I mean? And yeah, like there are so many things I want to design and do, and coming up with a brand new test jig for the sake of getting to work on a cool test jig, I'd rather spend that time working on something else that's going to give me more benefit when I've already got working test jigs. Pie on the side. Yeah, still not doing pie on the side though. Like I'm probably going to leave the height thing. Yeah, I might play with the pie next to. I might. I don't know. It's a lot, right? It's not a research project. It's a life-paying business. But at the same time, I want to learn, expand my horizons, expand my experience, and everything else as well. Like I'm not anti. Like there's plenty of stuff I do for the sake of doing it, right? To have done it. Don't get me wrong. I'm quite happy to do that, but I got to pick and choose my battles, right? I got to pick and choose the projects I do that on. You know, I don't want to end up with the final version of this redesign at the end of my requirement where I've got thousands of tests I need to do, and then have this whole redesign of board sitting here potentially unneeded. You know, like, yeah, who knows? I never know what's going to happen in the future. None of us do. 2.0 TFT fits on the pie, leaving the hat connector free. But I don't need a 2.4 inch TFT. That's crazy. Like yeah. Well, the problem is I need to get the board in. Like I need to put the display in a place where I can read it. Yeah, I mean, the biggest issue are these points here. I think maybe I just move them. I think that if I put the daughter board on the pie using those standoff positions, and then I change the positions for the bit holding the board. See? Too many choices, too many ideas, and here's a 555. Right, that's a lot of time I would have saved, Aaron, but do I need to do 30,000 tests in the future? I don't know. How hard was it to add your logo to Silkscreen and Eagle? I use Eagle. It's pretty easy. There's an SVG importer and a bitmap importer, but you don't want to use the bitmap importer, or it depends on who you're printing with. JLC PCB might knock off your logo if you do it via a BMP import. Yeah, that doesn't trigger me. Sorry, I don't really care about that. Yeah, sorry. To the right of the clamp and rotate it 180 degrees. In here, possibly. You mean, God, I keep losing where I put this little screen. Where'd the screen go now? There it is. So you're talking about having it there, like that, vertically. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, it's still going to be a big redesign though. Half a centimeter. Okay, I'm gonna have a think about what I'm gonna do. You know what? I might just end up putting all these back together again and just keep testing and leaving them as they are. I think I might just do that. I don't know. I mean, I had. I was going to start doing these design changes here. Like I had Eagle ready to go, but it's already over 2 hours and I've done nothing. No horizontal, but 180 degrees from now. Hey, Gustas, 4-hour stream. Yeah, I don't know. I got to get back to pick and placing. I still have over 1,000 boards to build. Really? Why would it like my voice? So if I just quickly so if I just put a 6-pin header on, let's stick it there for now, right? And it was over here. And I made the daughter board a little bit wider. To cover it. Don't know how much I'd need. So 150. Let's do 200. Whatever, right? CS1 drive. Right, but I'm not using that screen. So yeah, I don't want the screen up here because I won't be able to see it because the daughter board will be in the way. Right? Do I ship to Lithuania? I don't think I do at the moment. Oh, by the way, I'm not shipping to the UK anymore for the time being. Why, who's in Lithuania? Catch you later, Fred. You're not in Lithuania, Jay? Are you? Ah, oh, right, I didn't see, sorry, I didn't see your question. I don't think I've got Lithuania on. I don't know if I can. Let's find out, shall we? Ozpost. International delivery updates. Lithuania suspended. Nope. Only by sea. 2 to 3 months by sea. So, no. Sorry. Sorry. There are some companies in the EU that have some of my boards. But yeah, hang the display over the pie pins between the clamp and the top right. No, it's, I'm okay with where the screen can go. That's okay. I've got placed, like the screen can go here. I mean, it's not going to be on a board. I'm just doing that because, and the screen can sit like this. Sideways is fine. I don't need it to be this way. The screen can go like that. 2 buttons. Don't need the buzzer. Or I can find a different solution for the buzzer. I can even put an audio amp on there and drive it from the PWM from that, maybe. Yeah, Palmer only have my Tiny Pico and the Feather S2. Up higher. No, well, I can go all the way over to here. Like, I mean, I've got this whole room where this screen was, right? Which is pretty wide. Like, I've got, you know, if I was to go here, on the edge of that screen, I've got that much more space. Where was that lined up? About there. I've got this much more space for longer boards. So, I mean, there's plenty of room there. So I'm not worried about that if I do it that way. And then I think doing, like putting standoffs here. So shifting this one to here and to here means, oh sorry, I'm off screen, means I only need the acrylic to come to there, which means the screen and everything else is in the clear. Yeah, I've got resellers in the EU. Yeah, I don't know what's happening about Palmeroni's EU, but yeah, there are companies stocking at least my Tiny Picos in EU. Yes, there's a couple, but not my other boards. No Feather S2s and no other stuff. Just Tiny Pico and some of the Tiny Pico shields. My issue with ship with the UK right now, hey DIY in the Ghetto, is that is the whole VAT stuff that happened January 1. Tindy are working on setting up for VAT. They haven't done it yet. Once that's set up again, I can sell to the UK via Tindy. I've been trying to organise the VAT stuff for myself with the UK, and it's just impossible. Like, it's a nightmare. Their online application system is crap. All my boards are in bags and then are foamed, bubble wrapped entirety inside the box. And then depending on the size of the box, I might sometimes bubble wrap it on the outside. Yeah, my feather rest 2s are on Amazon. Hey Stephen. They're not. I'm not selling them on Amazon. Someone else is. They're not overly price competitive at the moment, but I'm working with that reseller to improve that. And I believe they're also going to list some nanos. They've got a limited number of nanos. Bear with me a moment. So my display shield. This is going to be the wrong way around. But that would go... Really? Oh. Moving the wrong thing. So I don't know if I'd cut a slot in the board and solder it to the bottom. Probably. Or I could flip the header around, the pins around on the header, and I could fold the screen under. So the way, just to show you, the way I've got this set up at the moment for the display shield is, for this shield, that's the top, that's the bottom, and obviously wraps around like that. So I could do that, but I'd have to put the pins on the bottom, right, underneath with a slot. Or you can fold it, because you can use the tin on both sides. So you can fold it under, and it can be attached like this, directly to the board, which means it's only a single-sided board, but the pins are in a different direction, I think. Are they? Yeah, they'll be flipped over if they're on the other side of the board. So I'd have to then flip them over again to have them the right way around. I'm not a fan of Fusion Electronics, and I know Eagle is being put out to pasture, and I'm determined this year to get up to speed at least as good as I am in Eagle in KiCad. So yeah, and I can't afford Altium. So yeah. So I'd have to switch these pins around. I have to make like a different footprint that's flipped, because I'm pretty sure I can't just mirror this. I know, yeah. There's no way of just flipping it left and right. Oh my gosh, you can't see my screen. Thanks. So I have to thought I could maybe do it this way. Add a local package. create this again and call it flipped. And if I look at this pin order, just going to copy that, put it up on my screen, and then go to this one. I'm going to reverse the pins. Maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe I need to look at the data sheet to do that. 13, 8 and 13. So 13 and 13 would be P1. This could go bad. P2 is 12. That's number 3. 11 is data. Yeah, I reckon that my biggest barrier to getting up and running in KiCad from a knowledge point of view and from a confidence point of view is getting all of the work I've done in Eagle with all my custom libraries and footprints, really finely tuned footprints and stencil cutouts and stuff for my components, getting all of that moved over into KiCad, whatever it's called. 4 is clock, so 10 would be clock. 5 is DC, so 9 would be DC. 6 is reset, so 8 would be reset. 7 is CS. What? Six. Oh. What have I done? Oh my god, start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, 7 and 7. Okay, so 7, says 14 pins. Yeah, I probably should have sorted it first. Oh well. 8 is ground, so 6 is ground. 9 is P3. 10 is VDD. 11 is K. And 12. So why have I got 2 ground pins? 8 and 13 here. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, pin number 1. Okay, got it. Ground. Okay, 1 and 6. Yeah, like I've given up on KiCad quite a few times. Found it quite... Design Spark is Windows only, so not an option. I'm on a Mac. I don't believe they've got a... Yeah, KiCad reads Eagle files, but I'm talking about all my libraries, all of my stuff that I've spent forever setting up. Okay, so I've now got a flipped version. So I need to update the library. And I want to package and use a flipped one. So let me undo that. Interesting. Why isn't that flipped? Oh, it is. So it was ground, 3.3 volts, IO23, and blah, blah, blah. And it's now changing the package isn't changing the flipping. That's why. As in undo and redo. Anyway, so I go flipped like that. That should be the top now. So I should be able to fold the thing under. Hey, Intermittent Tech. You could just put all of the parts from the library into a dummy project and import that into... Okay. Yeah, but how do I convert that into a library again? I don't know. Like that's the stuff I need to... Hey James, yeah, I don't want library experts IPC standard footprints. I want my customized, finely tweaked footprints to be the footprints I work from in my library. Hey Peter, yeah, and that's still ridiculous money. Plus you have to pay maintenance on it to stay updated. Yeah, I'm not paying that type of money for Altium, sorry. Yeah, I'm just tinkering with the board at the moment. I'm just tinkering. I'm going to get rid of the buzzer because it ain't any good. And I'm going to add another button. Oh, that's a soft power, not that button. So be button 2, but there is no button 2 right now. And maybe 2 buttons will work. Catch you later, Nick. Enjoy your dinner. So I'm just reading chat. Now what do I do about an RGB LED? Again, I'd like to put a surface mount one on, but I don't want to drive a NeoPixel or an APA, because I need to put, like, the Pi has to be running in supervisor mode to be able to, or super user mode to be able to drive an APA, which really sucks. Okay, not using that anymore. And I can now move the I2C pull-ups over here. Is it because of the speed required? So what was that in response to? I can't remember what I said 10 seconds ago. Is it because of the speed required? Oh, no, I don't know, actually, to be honest with you. But, you know, I played around with the NeoPixels on the Pi for my camera stuff I'm working on, and yeah. And every time I go to run it, I forget that I have to run it sudo. So, yeah, just I don't understand why exactly it's like that. It's a real pain. But if I just went, like I've already got 3, like an RG and a B I/O set up with resistors, I could just stick a surface mount RGB LED, but I don't have one. So it might just be easier still, again, to leave the RGB LED in place that I'm using right now, because I've got a few of those. I was using it back early days, productivity. Like if I'm going to play around with KiCad, I'm going to doing it with version 6. I'm not even going to bother with 5 anymore. I have individual LEDs, sure, but it's not really ideal. Like I use multiple colors. Like yeah, I use more than 3 different colors for what it's doing and results and stuff. So yeah, like getting purple out of 3 individual LEDs sitting next to each other doesn't work very well. So what's a standard RGB LED? What did I just write? Rob LED, because I can't type. Ah. It keeps auto-correcting me. I'm getting really pissed off. Yeah, 50-50 is fine, size-wise, but I'm kind of like, what is there? Yeah, I don't want a driven. Interesting. They've got the E's. Yeah, I don't want a individually addressable. I want just a standard RGB LED. Does anyone have anything they normally use? Here we go. The individually addressable. Wait, are these individually addressable? No. WS2812. But that's a 6-pin. 12S. Interesting. Control circuit and RGB chip integrated in a package of 50. So then this is individually D in, D out. Yeah, I don't want that. Yeah, no. Wow, why is it so hard to find just a standard RGB LED? I don't even care what the colours are. Where's the pin diagram? Did I miss it? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we go. Yeah, I missed it. Okay, well, that'll do. I'll just stick, I just ordered stuff yesterday. I don't know, I'll just stick 50 of them in my cart. Okay, so that's that solved. So that'll just be a 50-50 package shape. Yeah, it's your logo. Okay, I'm gonna start pick and placing. I'm going to get some work done. Use the old pick and place to load boards into the test jig. How does that help me? The old pick and place doesn't have a conveyor or anything. Pick and place is going great. Tuning out the boards. Yeah, it's good. Very happy. I've got, yesterday I was doing display shield boards. Because obviously in panels these have all been depanelized and edges cleaned, and I'm currently soldering up screens. Got a whole box of them, so I've set them up now. I'm building those on my pick and place machine, and obviously my reflow masters I'm building on the pick and place machine. No, running at 80. There's at 100% you get part bounce. 100% is fine if you're not placing 0402s, but with 0402s you get some part bounce. So 80 is fine. Yeah, honestly I can build way more boards in a day than I can clean and test, so it's not really a problem. I've got a whole bunch of tiny picos I built yesterday. There was actually more than those. Where are the other ones? Yeah, so 120 tiny picos I built yesterday in about an hour and a half. The machine can do 0201s, which I'm really looking forward to doing. So have to stay tuned on that one. I fixed the problem where your board flicks when placing. Yeah, I've moved the little holders. I did that yesterday. So now it clamps the boards in 3 positions on each side. So there's nothing allowing the board to flex. What was happening in my videos I posted was it was only clamping in the middle here. And so the boards could flex up. Well, could flex up this way. So placing in the middle there was no bounce, but placing on here because it was sitting up higher, it'd be bouncing. So now it clamps it properly. They're all adjustable. I just never got around to adjusting it. So I've done that now, and that's good. Also still tweaking heights a little bit. I would love to get an auto board paster, but it's $23,000. With the testing, is the new pick and place doing more working because percent wise? Hey Jay, is doing more working? Oh, more working boards percent wise. Oh, absolutely. I've got boards that are coming out that I don't have to touch. They go on the pick and place, in the oven, out, and I look over them on the microscope and they're good, and I just pull them apart to clean them. Yeah, it's worlds apart in terms of what I had before. Yeah, I can't do 01005 on this. 0201's the smallest I can do. Pomeroni's new machine, I think, can do 01005. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, some pick and place machines, they have the ability to brace it from underneath. Mine doesn't. But like I'm building my nanos, and like my nanos. So my nanos are being built on the pick and place now as well. So Tiny Pico Nano, Feather S2, Reflow Master, and my display shields are all being done on the pick and place machine. I'm slowly moving all my boards over. I mean, look how flexy these are. Look, and these are being pick and placed on my machine, no problem, without any support from the bottom. So it's just about tuning the placements and the positions and stuff. So you've only got a few of these left. 4 panels left of nanos. I need to get those built because I'm almost out again. So yeah, bit by bit I'm moving over. I'm about to get my play shield set up on there, but I want to get the Tiny Picos done first. I bought a whole bunch of screens yesterday. The 1.3 inch screens. I bought 500 of them. Long story. Bought another couple hundred of these screens and another 100 TFTs for my Reflow Masters. Very big order of screens. Are the component reels still working or more failing? I've lost 7 of the hybrid ones that I got from Charm High. And an 8th one is starting to play up. They just stopped working. Hey Henrik. So many screens, Mark. Yeah. So 23k and remodel the walls. Yes, I'd have to cut my wall out here, cut my floor and expand if I want to get the paster in. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Like I think I'm going to be moving into a warehouse much sooner than I'd planned. But we'll wait and see. Like I can't sell to the UK right now anymore for the time being anyway. And by middle of the year, I won't be able to sell to the EU anymore. So, expanding my production line and investing more money in equipment may be a bad idea when I'm not going to be able to sell to half the world. Still having problems with Tiny Pico 3D antenna moving in the oven. I am still a little bit less because I have determined that it's too much paste because of the size of the pads, and I have been being super careful. Like I'm almost under pasting my boards right now, and it has improved it, yes. But my new Feather S2s are here with the updated antenna footprint, and I'm having no issues now with the antenna. So it's definitely, the footprint is wrong in the data sheet. Not being able to sell to half the world is also an issue for your competition. Absolutely. But to be honest with you, I never really worry about my competition. It's just about what I can do. If I worried about my competition, then I should stop doing what I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? If I worried about my competition, I'd be completely demoralised all the time. I can't even sell to New South Wales now. No, that's a joke. But so the VAT changes and the certification enforcement of their laws are coming in July 21st, I think. So yeah, it's going to be a problem with the whole VAT registering stuff. I'm not interested right now in having to register in each European region to be able to sell and collect and report on all of their VAT. I don't have enough time to do what I'm doing right now, let alone doing their accounting for them. Hey Joe, you're welcome. You want to pop on down? I'll fill up your suitcase for you. No problem. You're like, hey Drew, I can't. That's the thing. They've got new, like, I have to collect VAT on behalf of the UK now and report against it, and I have to pay them for the privilege of getting VAT registered, and I can't even get VAT registered. I've tried 3 times now, and their whole website application is ridiculously stupid. It's all great until it gets to a point where I can't answer any of the questions. There's no option for any of my circumstances, and that's it. I'm done. I can't complete the application. UK is going for an Oz trade deal. I don't know, not that I know of. I don't think UK is doing anything right now other than hunkering down and trying to get past the pandemic. Look, I don't know what the deal is. I still don't understand why any of the certification stuff should be a problem. None of my stuff should require certification, in my opinion. Like they're all prototyping things. They're not consumer facing products. They should not need. It's just like with FCC. It should not need certification. And I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. It's not going to happen. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with I mean, we're part of the Commonwealth. There should be trade deals. I don't know, but I can't get exempt from collecting the VAT, and I'm not going to get exempt from having to do certification for the UK. No, it's not paid for by the buyer. That's the point. It is right now, and that law is changing, where it gets paid for by the seller. The seller charges the buyer for it, and then has to report and remit it to the correct authorities in the EU. That's what's changing in July. That's what changed January 1st in the UK. So it used to be that it gets collected by the post or whatever in the UK by the receiver. Now it gets charged by the seller, and the seller has to do it. And I have to pay a yearly fee to the UK, whatever they're called, the tax department, to be able to collect the VAT. And then I have to report it to them every whatever often they need. Like, it's just a total bullshit. And it's the same with the EU. But in the EU, it's worse. There is talk about having one place that you can remit to. I don't know what's happening with that. But right now, as it stands, if I collect VAT for an EU sale, I need to collect and report for each country, and then individually report back and pay those countries individually. Right? A friend of mine told me recently, anytime I think of making a product, to see what scene has gone through and decide against it. Oh, don't say that. I don't want to discourage people from doing it. I believe Stripe, the payment gateway, is bringing out a solution to handle country taxes and payments automatically. I don't know how that would work, because Stripe is a payment gateway, and they're paying via that gateway, but they're buying off me. It's my responsibility to do all that. Like, it's got to be my VAT number. They can't. Stripe might have a way of making it easier from an admin point of view, but I still have to register for the VAT collection for all the different regions and still have to do all that, right? With Tindy, it's different because people don't pay me. They pay Tindy. I ship the good, but they pay Tindy, and then Tindy pay me when I collect my money after it's been shipped. So technically, Tindy are selling. Tindy are the reseller, not me. Therefore, Tindy have to collect the VAT and have to remit the VAT, not me. Which is why I will be able to sell to the UK via Tindy, but they haven't done it yet. They haven't even registered yet. Or 10 days ago, they hadn't even registered. So, yeah, Tindy's kind of more like a drop shipper. Correct, Jay. But Stripe are just a payment gateway. So, you know, they might have some tools that make it a bit easier for me, but at the end of the day, I still have to do it, and I still have to register to be able to do it and pay for the privilege of doing it. And I've tried registering, as I said, 3 times and haven't been able to. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with eBay and everyone else. Like, this is affecting everyone. Like, yeah. And there's also no more VAT-free threshold. It used to be anything under £15, there was no VAT collected on it. That's also gone. So if you pay $1 for something, £1 for something, you have to pay VAT on it. So it's the UK's fault, Rob. Rob's saying VAT thing was, I believe, a UK idea put in during the transition phase and came into force 1st of Jan. Yep. EU adopted the idea from the UK. Bowser taking over logistics for crowd supply. Could you use them to sell to the UK EU? No, they won't sell my goods. Mouser won't sell my goods at all to the UK or EU anymore because of the CE stuff. So if you try to buy my products from Mouser in the EU, you can't. Even though it doesn't come in until July 21st, Mouser have already got that in place, which is what we were discussing a while ago. So they just report just one case. Awesome. So yeah, I mean that the mouse is not an option, and DigiKey and everyone else are going to fall in line as well. It's going to be the same thing. What do you mean Australia started this? The US started it. I mean, the US had sales tax before we had GST. But you mean that the Australian government were enforcing places like AliExpress and stuff to charge GST? Sure. You can understand why, but yeah. CE isn't changing, the enforcement of CE is changing. Self-certification is not what you think it is. Well, I don't know. Sorry, I shouldn't say that because I don't know what your knowledge is. I can't put CE on the back of my board and self-certify it and say that's done. I have to provide all the paperwork that backs up my self-certification. Like, even if I don't get it physically certified, it has to be certifiable. Like, I have to fill all the paperwork in. Like, as in, it's not like a document I fill in. I have to provide all of the technical documentation that shows why my board is certified compliant, right? And yeah, like self-certification isn't kind of I mark it and then I'm responsible for it. I need to provide all the paperwork. If you try to buy something off Mouser right now of mine, it comes up saying you can't do it because it requires paperwork, and I don't have that paperwork to give them because that would like I can't state this board passes emissions testing because I don't know if it passes emissions testing. So how do I write up all the documentation that states that it does? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I would need to go through all of at least pre-certification, and as I mentioned weeks ago, it's going to be $8,000 per board. And that includes, for instance, if I want to sell this display shield in Europe, I have to certify the display shield. I don't have to do radio testing on it, but I have to do full EMI testing and everything else. Like, so this one might only be a $6,000 certification. Like, why am I going to, well, look at that. That's another $6,000 certification. Oh, this board. Oh, here's another. Look at this. Here's another $6,000 certification. Like, here's a $12,000 certification. Like, you know what I mean? Like, every single board I have to get certified. Ridiculous. It's just not going to happen. So, for all of you in the EU, I'm really sorry, but it's ridiculous. This screen cannot be used as it is like that. No one can do anything with this screen like it is. Okay? And the second you plug this screen, so even if I got this certified, right, as is, which doesn't make any sense because it doesn't do anything. The second you plug this into this, it changes the characteristics of this 100%, right? So why does this need to be certified? This cannot be used in any way without plugging it into this or something else, which changes it. So it makes no sense, but every bit of electronics being imported into the EU needs to be CE marked. And if I self-certify, I have to, yeah. I don't understand it. It's ridiculous. It's the people in power in the EU just have no idea what it is they're requiring people to certify for no other reason than, like, it's just whatever. Yeah. Have I thought about throwing in the towel and just finding a job? No, I'm not giving up. I'm just resigned to the fact that I won't be selling to the EU. So anyone that wants, like, that's it. It's not like I won't be selling to the EU. No one in the EU will be able to buy my products. And that's just what it's going to be. Like, that's just, yeah. I mean, can I survive? Can I sustain my business just selling to America and Australia? Probably not. We'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, yeah. Gustav says, what if you have stock of your boards in one country? No, it doesn't matter. From a CE point of view, it doesn't matter. My boards cannot be brought into the country or sold within the EU if they're not certified. And from a VAT point of view, the person bringing in the boards, well, that's called a reseller, right? I mean, the VAT stuff can be can be worked on. The CE stuff can't. UKCA is going to be the same, Ian. I'm pretty 100% sure it's going to be the same problem. I'm going to have to do UK certification as well. Yeah, the UK right now are honouring CE for certification, and technically it needs to be certified, but they're not doing the we will police it like this, like the EU are saying. But when the UKCA comes in, which is the end of December 2021, apparently they are going to be as strict yet. So, but no one knows yet, really. Need to get more Aussie kids interested in electronics to provide SEAL with a wider market. Yeah. And people might not bother, and I'm going to, once this VAT stuff's sorted out, I will sell to the UK and see what happens, right? And I'm quite happy to sell to Europe. Like right now I haven't stopped selling to Europe, and July 21st I won't stop. If someone buys something off me in Europe, well, I don't know what's going to happen. I will ship them the board, and it may get stopped at customs, and it might get rejected, and it may not get through, and the person might not get their board, and that's going to have to be the criteria for people buying off me. I won't be responsible for what happens to it if they do. I guess if too many people buy and they can't get their boards because of the CE stuff, I'll have to close down Europe. I don't know. We discussed this a couple of weeks ago. I don't know how they're going to police it. I don't possibly see how they have enough people, right, to police it. And sure, I have to declare what's inside the product and the goods, and I could lie, but I'm not really prepared to do that. Let's revolt. Yay. You can use the UKCA mark now. Yeah, absolutely. You can use it now, but it's not compulsory until December. There's a year transition. Catch you later, Dave. Thanks for joining the stream. Is there any customers of such niche items which are components, not end products, who will complain to the nearest EU arsehole inspector? It's not about that. It's not about people complaining. It's about we don't know how they're going to police it. If they're policing it at the point of it coming into the country, then the consumer won't ever get it, right? I wouldn't be buying lithium cells from China, but I'm just joking. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like there aren't enough people. There aren't enough people in Australian customs to police that stuff. I don't believe there are enough people in the EU in the customs to police it. But no one knows what the penalties are for trying and getting caught. So, like, there's way more questions than answers right now. But it's coming into play, and no one knows what's going to happen. So, yeah, let's all move to Mars. Let's get on the SpaceX. How much are the tickets? Is USB-C PD fairly tricky? Not if you use one of the PD chips. It's pretty straightforward. You just need to pass the chip what voltage. That's what it requests from the USB-C. Brian Locke built his TS100 friend, was it? Or TS80 friend. Seems to me it's better to ask forgiveness than ask permission. Right, we'll just have to see what happens. Like, I don't know whether if I get caught getting stuff sent to the Europe, whether I get put on a black ban, and that's it. $500,000 a ticket. Let's all save up. Let's all do I'm going to set up a GoFundMe. I'm going to set up my company in Mars. It might take a while to ship goods, though. Is that okay? Would you all, if I set up my production line on Mars, would you all accept 12-month turnaround or something, or 18-month turnaround to get your products delivered? I agree that it's a prototype product and it shouldn't be under any of this stuff. There is a portal on Mars. Oh, really? I can just pop it in the portal and it comes here? Pick and place in Mars with the gravity. Yeah, that'd be cool. Buy an oil rig in international waters. I'd rather buy an island than an oil rig. I mean, but sure. Already building the customs house on Mars. It doesn't matter if the parts are certified. Once you put them on a board, the board has to be certified. Certification happens on the product, not on the components, and the parts aren't certified. Like you can't certify a chip, right? Because the chip can't do anything. It's when you put the chip on the board and how you use that chip, that has to be certified. Like a chip doesn't have emissions because it's just a chip. Like, it's going to be plugged into something to cause emissions, and it's the thing it's plugged into that needs to be certified. So, I mean, I'd work off a boat if I could fit a pick and place line on a boat. The chip is on its own way, but it's not powered. It does nothing. Here's this chip. How do I certify that chip? Here you go. Here's a chip. Certify it. What's its EMI right now? Nothing. Oh, okay. What's its radio? Nothing. What's its ESD? Nothing. Okay. Certified. Done. Like, that doesn't work. It doesn't matter. It's not about it being on a wafer. When they do CE testing on this board, they don't test the board like this. They power it and test it. They power it up, and it's got to be running code. It's got to be running its normal function. Yeah? And that's what they test. Right? They don't test it just sitting there doing nothing. It's inert. Right? Living on the boat would be fun. Yeah, tell me about it. I could take the pick and place on a boat, and then I could go into rough waters, and I could pretend that it's my charm high again. Ship aboard without power connection. Your game assembly is a user end assembly. and may need CE, but the micro modules are still components. Wait, what? So we're talking about this, right? So what are you saying? Well, that is a component. Like, that on its own does nothing, right? It does nothing. Like, if I sent that to a lab, how would they test it? Right? But it still has to have a CE mark on it. And if it has a CE mark on it, it needs accompanying paperwork. And that has to state what its emissions are when it's being run. And just because it needs this to plug into it to make it run, or something else to plug in to make it run, is kind of despite the point. But also, even without a tiny Pico, if I plug a battery into this, which obviously won't work right now, because this is the one that had the bad battery connection, but technically, if I do this, and that's turned on, that is giving off EMI, even with no tiny Pico plugged into it. And that has to be tested. Right? All the data for that has to be in the documentation that's provided. And, well, this technically, no, combined with the microcontroller, is not a finished end product. It's not. That's like saying a microcontroller is a finished... Is this a finished end product? Their argument is it is. But what's it useful for? It's designed to have other things plugged into it, right? And this, the way it's designed, is also designed to have other things plugged into it through the headers. So, well, this is a fully usable running device. Right? But according to the FCC, it's not, because it's designed to be connected to something else. And this is designed to be connected to something else. Now, if this had the ESP32 already on it, that's a different story. It doesn't matter that someone can buy this and connect them. This is designed to be plugged into something else. And so is this. Can you do something with this without it being plugged into something else? Sure. But that's not what its purpose is. Does anyone know Adafruit's take on it? I don't. I don't know what their take on it is, or SparkFun, or anyone else. Yeah, I'm interested in speaking to Pomeroni about, they design a whole lot of stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure... Hang on. Get off. Yeah, so, here's a hyperpixel from Pomeroni. Like, certification? No? I mean, they're going to have to get this certified to be able to sell it. No certification information on the box or anything. Like, all their products are going to have to be, I mean, how many unique products does Pomeroni make? 100? More? How many unique products does Adafruit make? Every single one of them is going to have to be certified, or they just won't sell them to the UK. I mean, I'm pretty sure Adafruit will survive perfectly fine. I'm sure their largest market by far is the US. But, I'll ask Pomeroni about it. I will. I'll reach out. I mean, I sell to them. I've got hopefully an opening where I can chat. License my parts But why would Adafruit do CE? Adafruit already sell my Tiny Pico. Adafruit sell my products already. Like, why would they get them certified? Makes no sense to get them for them to do it. It's not their product. It's not about licensing. That doesn't help. Must be an interesting fuzzy line between bare PCB and device that needs certifying. Technically, anything that's electronics, if you read the documentation, the CE documentation, the directive, anything that is an electronics device has to have a CE mark on it. Anything that's an electronics device. A blank PCB is not an electronics device. Okay? A PCB with, well, we can do the whole with a couple of resistors, but they don't exist. A basic PCB that does something, that's got some components on it that can do something, anything, an RGB LED, that's it, then that has to be certified. Has to have a CE mark on it. So when I say certified, it has to have a CE mark on it and accompanying paperwork. If you read their directive, all of it has to have. There is no distinction between different types. C has never been down to the manufacturer, but the importer, Adafruit, will be held liable here. The CE, the seller is liable for making sure that what they are selling is certified. They are not liable for certifying. The manufacturer is liable for certifying their products. The sellers, importers / sellers, are the ones that have to ensure it's certified or they can't sell it. With no software loaded, does IoT do something? Well, sure, that's the thing. You know, do I ship boards without any code on it? Well, that won't help, because if you plug it in, it generates EMI. Even if there's no code running on it, if the chip powers up, it runs, it's got emissions, right? There's ESD, there's emissions and other stuff. If your product is under 50 volt DC and it falls out with the low voltage directive and doesn't need EMI MC testing. However, if it uses wireless, then even if it's 5 volt, it needs. Are you sure? Because there's a lot more than just EMI and EMC, right? There's also technically ROHS, and there's also ESD, or whatever they group that under. Electromagnetic. No, not magnetic. What's the other one? No, electromagnetic. Does JLC PCB, they're at the assembly house. The company that designs them has to get them certified. The person ordering them from JLC PCB are the ones responsible for getting them certified. If you power up a PC even with no software on it, it gives off electromagnetic interference. Does software make it give off more? Sure, maybe. You make the CPU run hotter, faster, yeah, but it still does. You power something up and it gives off electromagnetic interference. And that's what is supposed to be making sure that it's within their ranges of the acceptable. Right, and it also has to function correctly under the influence of electromagnetic interference. So it's both. Absolutely, right? And so defined functions normally. How does that work? What is this device's usual thing that it does, that it needs to function doing? Nothing. It's not a product that has a singular task. Well, it's for your own use. You don't have to get anything certified. It's for sale. If it's being sold to someone, it needs to be certified. Yeah, look, I'm definitely going to ask around. But even if there's no code, even if the flash is empty, Helmet, it doesn't matter. If the flash is empty and I plug this in, the ESP32 itself has a bootloader on it. It does stuff. It's running something. It's running FreeRTOS in here, on here. Just because I've got no user code on it doesn't matter. It's powered up. It's running. The radios are doing something. There's a crystal in here running. A whole lot of stuff's running on here. You can't use the excuse. It doesn't matter about code. You can have no code. It's irrelevant. It still does something. Right? Exactly, Jonathan. Exactly. So, sorry. Unknown, Paul, because that's the thing. There's no defined use for this product. And this is where it gets messy. So, with radios it's different because I would need to actually write code to put this under load, like to use Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all the things I want to get certified to make it do things to be tested. But for general EMI, well, I don't know. With nothing but a fuse and some terminals, and it could be used as a Wi-Fi nuclear detonator. That's true. Well, prototyping doesn't exist under the directive. That's the whole point. Or there's no such thing as subassembly and stuff like that with CE. So, with FCC, they're quite clear that there are clauses for the case of products that are designed to be connected together to make other products. And, there's classifications for R&D and stuff like that. There was classifications for R&D, I believe. Maybe that was only for the VAT side with the EU. But anything that can be bought and sold in the EU, it needs CE. So, yeah, interesting. I don't know. So the thing is, Ian was saying about the 50 volt stuff, but I would still have to put a CE mark on this, even if I don't need to do EMI testing. I still have to put a CE mark on it with all the accompanying paperwork justifying why this is compliant and why I don't need to do this or why, you know what I mean? Like, I can't still just sell this as is. I would have to go and still self-certify it. Well, it's easier. It's not easy, I don't believe, self-certification. It's easier. I had a quick glance at the paperwork, and it's not 1 or 2 sheets of paper. And I'm also not in a position where I can... where I have enough knowledge that I could be comfortable saying this is fine. Like, it's got capacitive touch on it, for instance. Like, will this function in an environment where there's, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's why there are companies out there that are experts in certification requirements and stuff, but they charge like wounded bulls. Jay, I'm not sure if other than potentially looking to get some help with funding for certification. Yeah, I don't think DFAT are interested in little tiny people like me. You know, when they're talking about Aussie exporters, they're talking about agriculture and big industry, not little startups like me. Well, I'm pretty sure that there would be an oscillator inside the IMU on this, wouldn't there? Some form of oscillator on the IMU. I would think. Sure. Look, I can ask some questions. Right now, I'm just kind of ignoring the situation because I don't have a solution for it. I'm still looking at potential places in Europe that I can get CE pre-certification done, but I wouldn't even know how I'd use that to resolve anything if there was problems. So I'm not talking about, like there's no microcontroller specifically on this board without a tiny Pico plugged in, but there are chips on here that could have their own little oscillators in there that would power up if you power it up, right? Every board you make is CE. As soon as you put two boards together, they have to get a new CE. No, they don't, because that's... But see, that's the thing. That's my argument, is that they want that board and this board to have CE, and on their own, that's not how they're designed to be used. So why do they need CE? And joined together, the characteristics change. So this might need CE, but they're not sold together, right? Like, this is not a permanent thing on the board, and it does not ship with it on the board. And if they're not sold together, that is not a product. That is a result of taking that product and plugging them in. And then I could put that together, and then I could stick a wire here, whatever, and into that, and now I've got something else which is going to give completely different results. And so because this is designed to allow people to plug all sorts of things into it, everything about it says it can't be certified, that it makes no sense certifying it, which is why the FCC don't require it. And yeah. Yeah, the politicians have no idea. Wouldn't even know what electronics are or how they work. That'd be great, Ian. I was actually going to reach out to some people and ask if anyone has self-certified. Like, what does their documentation look like? Like, I've seen example documentation of what the documents look like, but not what a self-certified product document looks like, as in if someone has actually done it. Yeah, I'd be very keen to look at that, to see what that looks like. 10:30, guys. 3.5 hours. That's me a lot of waffling. But look, I'm not giving up, like, as in I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Like, I've got no plans on changing what I'm doing, but I see some big roadblocks coming into play this year, and we'll see how they go. Another 30 minutes? Why another 30 minutes? Oh, to get to 4 hours. I don't want to get to 4 hours. No, that's crazy. I need to get to work. I've got so many boards to build still. Yeah. I need to get to work. Is it not the case that only the final product? That's only in America. In America, with the FCC, that is correct. If it's a sub-assembly, like all my parts are, they don't individually need certification. But that's not the case in the EU. They don't have a sub-assembly category. Matters will evolve. Who knows what's going to happen? You know what? We might get to July or August or December of this year and realize that it had no impact. That'd be awesome. I'm be quite happy if that's the case. Like, this all might be a moot point. But it's already affected me because Mauser are not selling my products in the EU anymore already. So it is affecting me already, whether, you know what I mean? Like, they're doing that because they don't want to get in trouble, which is fine, but it might be unnecessary, but who knows? So, yeah, I'm hoping it'll be a no-event, a non-event. You know, this time next year, we could all be laughing about it, but it is already affecting me financially because of what Mauser put into play. Happy New Year, Rat Madness. Fritronics also seem to be ignoring the issue. I don't think John's ignoring it. I just don't know what he's going to do about it. He's in the same boat as me. He's just going to stop selling, from my understanding. Sorry, Mike. Look, there are not a lot of people talking about it, but, you know, I guess I'm different in how I'm sharing my journey and stuff. I talk a lot more, and I'm a lot more, I guess, candid about what I'm going through and ups and downs and challenges and whatever else, you know what I mean? Yeah. You got an eye operation, Graham? No. Hope it goes okay. I'm not going to keep talking till 12. Sorry. Or till 11. No. I need to get to work, seriously. And my coffee, like, really. The dregs are so cold. I need another coffee. So, thank you all. Happy New Year. Thanks for the fun chat today. I don't know what I'm going to do with the test jig. I don't know. It seems so inconsequential. No, it seems so insignificant to everything else right now. The only people that are going to suffer through all of this are all of these citizens in the EU and the UK. Right? It's not going to help any of the local companies. It's not going to help the local economy. It's not going to make any of these countries and regions more independent. It's just going to mean that their citizens have got less choice about what they can buy. It's going to close up free markets, and the end users are going to suffer. And that's all that's going to happen. No one's going to win. The end users are going to suffer. That's it. That's the only result. I'm calling this now. That's the only result that's going to happen. And, yeah. And it's sad. It's sad. Anyway. Yeah, same shit, different number. Exactly what it is. Yeah, don't forget to check out the podcast in 2 weeks. 2 weeks? 2 days. In 2 days, check out the podcast. I'll catch you all later. Have a great week. See you next week. Yeah. Bye, everyone. Thanks.